still not onerous enough to account for the true credit risk in banking. Okay. Most of bank risk is credit risk. And what's happened lately is what's knocked everyone for a loop isn't in fact credit risk, it's interest rate risk, right? It was interest rate mismatches on assets and liabilities from positioning of US Treasury bonds. Now, US Treasury bonds are, for all intents and purposes, credit risk free in the short term. There is a credit default swap market on the failure of the United States' counterparty risk, but it's fairly low, and I'm not predicting anytime soon, in the absence of a debt ceiling debacle, the U.S. not being able to fund itself. Nonetheless, it's not a zero risk, but the biggest risk with these guys when you lend in treasury bonds was something called interest rate risk, and that's what knocked all these guys offside, which is, as you know, when you buy a coupon on a bond, a fixed coupon that's for 30 years at, let's say, 1.5% coupon, and open market interest rates increase to 4%, the value of that bond goes down 30 plus points, right? Your bond that you bought at 100 cents on the dollar is now trading in the open market at under 65 cents on the dollar. Why? Something called duration and convexity, which is just bond math. But it's driven by interest rate concerns. It's not people saying, oh my God, the US Treasury is going to fail, and something that I lent to them at 100 cents on the dollars only got a 65% recovery rate now. No, it's all interest rate math. So understand the difference between FDIC insured deposits versus an institution that's taking interest rate risk versus credit risk. I don't anticipate Apple Bank to be much more than a deposit gathering entity that will be able to turn around and redistribute those deposits into something called the interbank deposit market and earn their spread that way. I don't think Apple's going to become a lending institution. I could be wrong, but the USA has 5,000 banks, Tom. 5,000. There's lots of room for error in the existing banks, and that's what you're seeing. So again, not trying to cause a bank run as much as make people aware of how the system works. Cool?
Foss, you're going to cause a bank run, man. This room is going to exit banks ASAP.
They shouldn't. They should only understand, CK, how risky it is. It's not to say that, look, banks have existed for hundreds of years, but the truth is, as Henry Ford said, over 100 years ago, I think it was Henry Ford that said if the average American understood how banking worked, there'd be a revolution in the morning, right? So this is not new. This is just saying the same stuff that most people don't. They listen to Janet Yellen and don't understand the difference between your deposits being safe, yes, by and large that's true, versus your bank stock being way overvalued, and you own the bank stock because it's got a nice juicy dividend. And guess what? All of a sudden, you're holding a juicy dividend that gets cut, and your bank stock goes from $300 a share down to $14 a share, much like First Republic Bank, or all of these things where you got knuckleheads owning the bank stocks of banking hold companies at the wrong price. And that's what I'm trying to protect against. I'll let other people talk. Thanks, guys.
Really good stuff there, Foss. Eva, let me pull you into it. You can go off that, or you can feel free to continue opening up thoughts on Bitcoin as a whole, and then we'll work around the rest of the panel.
Yeah, let me just say that I am here to cause a bank run, if there was any confusion about that. No, just kidding. But just give some quick background on myself. So I've been in crypto professionally since 2013. I've been friends with a lot of people and had interest on the technical side going back before that. And I wanted to kind of bring the conversation a little bit back to Bitcoin, although I'll just throw out that my understanding is that Apple has also introduced Apple Pay Later, which I'm assuming is kind of a product designed to compete with Affirm. So to some degree, they're getting into lending. But anyway, my question was, or I guess my kind of what I'd like to get some thoughts on is how are people thinking about two things? One is, and these are not really related, but one is, the idea of an introduction of CBDC. So Fed has already introduced, Fed Now. and how are people thinking about the interplay between Bitcoin adoption and the coming wave of CBDCs as they start to come online? I think at this point, like pretty much every country has either announced that they're going to be doing it, or they're in process, or some form of that. And then the second thing was really a question about how people are thinking about this idea of autonomous transactions on the ordinal side, right? So the notion of partially signed transactions. Me personally, I think that the like NFT inscription stuff is not really that interesting, but I think the transaction stuff could be really, really revolutionary.
All right. Yeah.
I'll do my quick answer, and then I'll cede the stage to other folks. Regarding CBDCs, I think that they are the world's greatest marketing plan for Bitcoin, right? I think as people realize what they offer and how CBDCs are just as terrible as regular fiat currency with all of its debasement properties, the way it destroys your purchasing power guaranteed over time mathematically. But then on top of that, there's the layer of control that the government will have over its citizens. I think as people realize what it is they're getting into and what is being forced upon us, that is incredible marketing for freedom money, right? And permissionless money, and for being your own bank. And then at the same time, it's also, I believe it's going to make it harder for people to buy Bitcoin, because they'll be able to do even more choke point operations and cut off. They may administer CBDCs, but be like, hey, you can spend it on A, B, and C, but if you try to buy Bitcoin with it, you're out. We won't allow it. Those kind of things I think are very real possibilities. Again, it's fantastic marketing for Bitcoin, but I tell people, if you are at all concerned about CBDCs, I would buy Bitcoin while you can, and while it's still relatively easy to do so, and please get it off of exchanges and put it into cold storage. They may be doing what they can to clog up any outlets. So just like they did in the 30s by making gold ownership illegal before doing financial repression in the 1940s, they may try to follow a similar playbook this time around. I don't know how they would do it, but it's definitely not a 0% probability. So I'll stop there. I'd love to hear other people's opinions.
I just want to actually just quickly throw something out. So I've contributed to Lightning, and I'm a big believer in sort of layer 2 payment systems to be able to enable Bitcoin to be like a functional currency as opposed to just a really efficient store of value. But I guess what I'm kind of concerned about there, especially with CBDC, is that the government would essentially adopt the position that the US dollar is the default currency, and just like you're not supposed to anyway, like walk around with euros and spend them in stores, that they'll take a sort of a similar tack towards other cryptocurrencies that are not US digital dollars, at least within the US. And the concern for me there is not just I think giving the government highly programmable money, which from a privacy perspective is really disturbing, but on the other side of that, it's that you could end up potentially, at least for US citizens, pushing crypto in like more broadly into kind of the territory of something like Monero.
Yeah, CK, want to hop in here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know the dynamic of like legal tender laws as it applies to CBDCs, and like what that will mean for Bitcoin versus like maybe other cryptocurrencies with different privacy features. But generally speaking, I'm pretty skeptical of CBDCs actually shipping. I think every single central bank in the world, other than maybe the Fed, is actively working on a central bank project. Those have like ship dates anywhere from like 2025 to 2035. So in those cases, my question is like, where will Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are already in the wild and active, where will they be by the time that these central bankers actually ship? And then the other element is, I really do think that of all of these CBDCs that are live already, China, Nigeria, etc., they're having no success in have people taking them up, right? Almost all of those people living in those countries would prefer to have dollars. So I really do think that the game here is Bitcoin and dollars. Like that's what the future looks like. I think dollars are going to murder all the other fiat out there, and then Bitcoin is going to take down the dollar. That's my personal thesis, but I really don't think that the CBDC thing is actually going to come into play, similar to intranets never really came into play as things kind of unfolded with the internet itself.
Really good stuff. Hey, we're about 35 minutes in here. I gave us a little bit extra time for this one, so we're going to run until 2 p.m. Eastern. Really appreciate the guests that have been on here on stage. If anyone's been listening, obviously some great follows. Reminder, if you would like to, if you're coming to the Bitcoin conference, which a lot of these speakers are going to be at the Bitcoin conference, there's some links up top that you can check out from CK with an epic 3D map of the Bitcoin venue. And then number two, if you want to subscribe, if you want to get free RSVP to what I think is going to be the hottest party of the Bitcoin Miami week, I will be hosting an event on May 18th from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. We are going to probably get a nice rooftop place with a bar. It's going to be free drinks, free food, probably charcuterie boards is what we've done in the past. They've been a big hit. We did gifts as well. I've teamed up with some different hemp companies that have done some gifts. So there's been some cool stuff there. And I put that link in the top of the space. So if you want to get an RSVP in early before we hit capacity, I recommend just going to the top of the space, checking it out. It's also the last tweet on my timeline underneath the space. That being said, I want to keep it rolling around here. Lawrence, we heard from you right at the beginning, but we haven't heard from you a little bit. So maybe I could pull you back in here to get some more thoughts on Bitcoin and everything we've been discussing.
Yeah, sure. A lot of topics. I think Jeff and first of all, Bitcoin was up 71% in the first quarter. So that once again made it the best performing financial asset, compared to everything. And so I'm with Jeff. I think the bull market has started again. And I fully expect that, Bitcoin's going to 100,000+ this year and higher next year. Gold is hanging in there too. And when it breaks through 2,100, that'll be very meaningful. And all Bitcoiners should root for that because it'll accelerate the knowledge of most people in the world that fiat is failing. I learned something yesterday interesting I thought I'd pass out of the group. I thought you might all enjoy knowing this. Silicon Valley Bank failed on a Thursday, and as you'll recall, $42 billion was withdrawn in one day, which is pretty stunning, right? I mean, talk about a digital bank run. I mean, that's it. This isn't the Bailey Savings and Loan. I heard from a good source yesterday that on Friday they were presented with $100 billion of withdrawal requests. Now, they were already at that point in time effectively under the FDIC, but the total assets of the bank were only 200 billion. So the Hemingway quote of suddenly and then all at once, or slowly and then all at once, really kind of applies when one of these things goes. And from my point of view, I see Bitcoin, or I see fiat is, the Silicon Valley Bank is a small microcosm of the larger world. And so imagine when what happened to Silicon Valley Bank happens to fiat currency, because that's where we're going. Now, whether we get there today, tomorrow, definitely not. Probably not within a year or two. But I was talking last night and kind of working through the math on fourth turnings and everything else. I'm pretty sure that happens within 5 years, and maybe within 2 or 3. And so, what that says is we've got to be hedged, with sound money assets, because you can, all the things that are occurring in the world right now are the pattern that happens in other countries before they have massive inflation or hyperinflation. I mean, every single step that's unfolded in the past year hasn't surprised me, and in fact has kind of confirmed my sound belief that we're in the right place and we're holding the right assets. And the mathematics of the situation are that this sucker's going down. Fiat's going to fail. So that's kind of my major view, and I feel very comfortable in holding that view and stating that publicly, even though a lot of people think to be that aggressive is crazy. I think it's going to happen.
See, we got a couple hands up on that. Go for it, Bob.
So yeah, Lawrence, and so I always love talking with Lawrence because he makes me look like a pussycat in terms of my outlook for the future. And I just want to be clear. Okay, so I'm a Canadian. I live rent free in your attic. I know I use that a lot on Bitcoin podcasts, but the truth is, Canada, while we are a G7 nation, we don't really matter in the global context. We live rent free in the attic of the USA because most of you guys can't even find us on a map, which is all good because we are less important than the state of California from a GDP perspective, meaning the size of our country's economy is actually smaller than the economy of California. Nonetheless, we're a G7 country, and we have a system in Canada that's largely mirroring the US system, and we're very lucky to have you guys as our major trading partner and vice versa. So fiat, I don't want the US dollar to fail. Okay, that's 100% my stated belief. Is it's not in anybody's interest to have the US dollar fail. Now that changes, or that's in market difference to some Bitcoiners who want the US dollar to fail. I will be clear though that the risk of the US dollar failing increases with each successive deficit bill that comes and is tabled by the either side of the aisle. Deficits in the United States are not Republican or Democrat. They are universal. And the spending and debt spiral that the US has accumulated is mathematically impossible to escape from. Okay? Dr. Jeff said it looks impossible and it seems impossible. No. It is impossible. It's only mathematics, and mathematics don't lie. So the USA is in a debt spiral, but that is no different than any other country in the world. And so Canada will fail, in my opinion, many years, including perhaps decades before the US dollar fails. Not what I want, but again, playing probabilities, Canada does not matter. Now, here's the funny thing. We're a G7 country, which means there's hundreds, not hundreds, but over 100 other fiat currencies that will fail before the Canadian dollar fails, which is to say this: yes, all fiat currencies fail, and the US dollar will eventually fail, but I don't think it happens quickly, nor do I want it to happen quickly. What will happen is a loss in confidence in the US Treasury system, where Bitcoin replaces US Treasury bonds as the global store of wealth. It will replace US Treasury bonds as the global reserve asset, not the global reserve currency. Okay,
right? But Foss,
yeah,
that basically means the dollar will fail, because if Bitcoin goes through 100,000, 200,000, a million, which is what it's going to do, as it starts to replace all the fiat in the world, everyone's going to realize it's going to be a Silicon Valley Bank moment.
It could be, Lawrence, and this is where we can't predict the future. You can only protect yourself against the likelihood of that happening. And this is why Lawrence and I get along well. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but we agree that you have to hedge the possibilities and the probabilities of various events happening. And that's when I can go back to the credit default swap market. And here, Wolf, forgive me if I lose most of the listeners, but nonetheless, I'm going to bring a credit bent to this. I can calculate the intrinsic value of Bitcoin as credit default insurance on the USA. However small people think that to be, it's actually very large in real dollars because the size of the US deficit is so large. I can calculate the intrinsic value of Bitcoin as credit default swap insurance on the USA, and it's cheap, trading cheap to its implied value just on the United States. And here's the beautiful thing: you get all the other countries in the world for free. And those are the ones that are going to fail before the US dollar. So you get all these rocket scientists on Twitter saying, don't you guys understand that we don't give a shit what's going on in Liberia or Libya or Argentina, because those currencies are failing against the US dollar? Hey, wake up, USA. Not everyone lives in the United States of America. And this is why it's cool. I would just say this: Bitcoin is credit default swap insurance on all currencies in the world, including the USA. And the USA will likely be the last fiat currency to fail, but you better get your insurance on every other currency. And that's why Bitcoin is so cheap, because it has no counterparty risk. You don't have to worry about Bear Stearns failing if they were your insurance company. No, there's no counterparty risk with Bitcoin. The most beautiful store of value and counterparty risk-free asset that has ever existed in the world, built on math and code. And if you don't understand that, get someone else to manage your money, because you're too stupid to manage your own money. Thanks.
So I think that, Silicon Valley Bank was, I don't think that you could have bought a better commercial for Bitcoin, right? I mean, just the idea that as an SMB, you had your assets locked up, and then some third party would tell you that, you can't meet payroll and your company is going to fail. And like that concept is completely out of control. I mean, Crypto.com spent I don't know what on their Super Bowl commercial with Matt Damon, but this was way better, right? And I think the one thing that I wonder though is when you were talking about kind of a more global perspective, like I just got back from Dubai where I spent about 6 months, and I think what's going on outside of the U.S. is fascinating. I think a lot of people in the U.S. are sleeping on it, but one of the things that's happening is BRICS, right? And I'm wondering, how are you seeing, or in your view, kind of how are you seeing this interplay between Bitcoin adoption and cryptocurrency adoption, which is definitely accelerating in places like the UAE, versus having settlement in non-dollar reserve currencies like the yuan or what have
Yeah, great question. So maybe that was to me, maybe not, but it
you.
dovetails
It was, yeah.
beautifully. Thank you, brother. Look, it dovetails beautifully with my belief that Putin is playing a game of 3D chess against a bunch of American politicians that are failing at checkers, okay? Putin, I don't support what he does, but the man did not just fall off the turnip truck. He will someday be selling his oil and natural gas in trade against Bitcoin and not against a debasing fiat currency called the US dollar. Very simple. It's not a 100% certainty, but I'd say it's a very high likelihood given all the things you're seeing there. So your question, though, was about the BRICS. Here, people, understand this. Did you know that the BRICS, the combined economy of the BRICS, so Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, there's another I in there that I'm forgetting because there's two I's in BRICS. It doesn't matter. The combined GDP of the BRICS is now greater than the combined GDP of the G7 countries. Pure mathematics, don't argue with it. It is what it is. Don't lose sleep about it. Their populations are way, way larger on a combined basis than the G7 nations. So over time, it's always about demographics, okay? And the BRICS will overwhelm the G7 nations over time. It's just math, people. Don't lose sleep over it. The combined purchasing power, though, of the G7 nations can shift that power if we do what we generally do well, which is to preserve our purchasing power and our wealth preservation and our store of value. And this is why I think it's imperative for the United States and other G7 nations to actually embrace Bitcoin rather than allow it to be developed in Russia by Putin. And I wouldn't call them enemies, but they're certainly more like frenemies than they are true friends. And this is why it's dangerous. And I'll take this chance to shout out a very important book that's written by a friend of mine. You don't have to agree with it, but please try and read it. Written by a kid who's in the U.S. Space Force. The name is Jason Lowry. Wrote a 400-page thesis for MIT on this basis. And I think whether you agree with it or not, you need to understand the implications. So thank you for listening from Canada. I'm a huge fan of the United States. I want you guys to succeed because we have an idiot prime minister in Canada who thinks budgets balance themselves. He actually said that. And you cannot be the CEO of a country and say such infantile stuff. If you were the CEO of a company, you would have been fired on the spot. But this is what we have in our corner in Canada. And I don't want and by the way, it doesn't really matter because I've laid that out. Canada does not matter. But my God, the US matters. And this is why you have to embrace Bitcoin, not just because of national security, but because the fiat Ponzi is the problem. So this isn't to say sell your gold and buy Bitcoin. This is to say, guys, own hard assets. And if you're going to allocate to Bitcoin, the risk bucket you're supposed to take it out of is your bond portfolio, of which most United States citizens have about 40% of their exposure, their net worth, in bonds, which are a fiat contract programmed to debase. You're losing your money in real time by owning bonds. You guys failed mathematics. Don't pass that burden on to your children, okay? It's part of the fiat Ponzi, and Bitcoin's the solution.
Great rundown there, Foss. Bilo, let's give you a chance to speak here, and then we'll bring in Tom.
Thanks, Gav. Very interesting conversation. I have to admit, I had some questions that I completely forgot now. But to
Same.
one thing Lawrence said, I don't think that hyperinflation is anything we need to worry about for now. I don't see it happening. at the moment. I thought about it a lot. I even put up some threads about the possibilities of hyperinflation. When you look at the situation, what's happening, and the Fed's tightening, I just don't see it happening. Inflation is coming down. It's funny because Bitcoin suffered just like, and guys, I love Bitcoin. I own Bitcoin. I've been in Bitcoin for a long time. So I'm not here to say anything negative on Bitcoin. But Bitcoin price action suffered along with the traditional market when it suffered when, for example, CPI or interest rate hikes came around. So I think there's this intertwining that goes on that is inevitable and is going to continue to happen. And until Bitcoin truly decouples from TradFi, I think we'll see ups and downs with it. That being said, with the banking failures, we did see an influx of purchasing into Bitcoin because people just really felt unsafe with where they should put their money. And Foster did a great job explaining the banking systems and how the rise in interest rates devalues bonds, and these bonds are what banks invested in at lower rates and so on and so forth. And I think that you're right that this is not over and there's more to come. And just finally, Bitcoin, I mean, long term, I totally believe that Bitcoin is going to be, worth, somebody said 100,000 and much more. But I think being realistic, I don't see it happening this year. Typically, we've seen, prices hover and then shoot up after the halving, which is coming around in May of next year. From a charting perspective, healthy retraces, and I mean healthy retraces, are needed. Markets move in structures, 5 waves up, 3 waves down, if you want to simplify it. And I think that there is a need for a retracement at the moment. Bitcoin spent longer below its 200 moving average, weekly moving average, than it ever has. And yet it shot right past it up to 31 something. And so, from a TA perspective, I think that a healthy retrace here is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing to onboard more liquidity. And so I don't view that retraces even back down to the 25K level as a bad thing. I actually view it as a very good thing so long as it holds and supports and onboards that liquidity from there on out. And finally, third-party risk. There is, to a certain degree, some third-party risk because you have large institutions, large players that have positions in Bitcoin, and these positions are leveraged positions, and they have liquidation points. And if, for whatever reason, there is a swan event, a black swan event, and prices go to lower lows, there is a risk of that third-party counter risk that forces an enormous amount of, in this case, we're talking about Bitcoin, could be anything, to be kind of laid out on the market. So I think it's important that people do realize that these are all possibilities.
Yeah, well said, sir. Well said. Look, I want to be clear. When I say counterparty risk, I mean the counterparty. That's market risk you talked about. That's not counterparty risk. Or you're thinking of it as the risk that your counterparty is the stupidest person in the room. Hey, that's the risk of any market. What you have in true counterparty risk is like a contract, that they will fall down on a contract. So when I say the term counterparty risk, I mean that the terminology used in credit default swap trading, where I buy insurance from JP Morgan, or let's use a real life scenario. I had bought insurance from Bear Stearns, credit default swap insurance from Bear Stearns, and where Bear Stearns was going to fail, I had to turn around and run out and buy insurance on Bear Stearns because it would have left me exposed, right? That's true counterparty risk. That is counterparty risk of an insurance contract, not counterparty risk like you described. But then,
I understand.
But then coming back, and by the way, I love your analysis. Larry and I are in this for the long term. We're in here for 20 years. And what I would just suggest to you is if you have 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, you better focus on your other 95% of your portfolio is where the true risk lies, not in Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is your insurance policy. And there will be a separation between risk assets in the future when big money actually understands that Bitcoin is what's called a long volatility asset. Most other assets in the world are short vol assets, which means when volatility increases, those assets go down in price. Okay, think about what happens when VIX increases on the equity markets. Most often, the price of equities are falling, which means it's a short vol asset. Bitcoin is in the process of moving from being a short vol asset, in my opinion only, to becoming a long volatility asset. And when that happens, sell-offs in other assets may in fact turn into a bid into Bitcoin, much like people used to run to bonds. Well, now they might run to Bitcoin. Just me talking out loud. But again, if you only have 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, worry about the other 95% of your portfolio. That's where people need to manage the risk. Well done, sir. You got to follow from me. I'm a longer term guy. I look at Bitcoin like credit guys look at things, not like equity guys. I don't really care what happens over the next couple of quarters in my Bitcoin portfolio. I do care about it in my equity portfolio, but Bitcoin is my long-term, low-time preference insurance policy for my children on the fiat Ponzi. Thanks, brother.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. Thank you.
Really good stuff there. Okay, let's pull back to Tom, and then we can go to SC.
Yeah, dude, I'm just drinking this in. I'm loving it. I decided just to throw up my stream on YouTube so my viewers could watch and ask questions. So there's lots to keep track of for me. I wanted to, since this is like a Foss interview, I'm just kidding, but since Foss is really slaying some answers here, I actually wanted to get some insight from him about two things. One kind of goes back to what we were talking about. We're seeing a lot of companies flee from the US in crypto, going offshore. I'm interested in what Foss thinks will happen with that, how that will resolve, if the US will attempt to get them back. But one of the questions I really wanted to answer is if he has any thoughts about the CEO of Dutch Bank leaving last week.
Oh, I wasn't even aware. When you say Dutch, do you mean Deutsche Bank or Dutch Bank?
Yeah, DB.
Deutsche Bank. I wasn't even aware of that. Well, first of all, look, I'm going to pass this off to my partners, Larry and Dr. Jeff. It isn't a Foss interview, but I tend to be the loudest guy on the room, so I apologize for that. I'm passionate about this because I've worked on a trading floor for 30 years, and when I found Bitcoin, I thought it was a Ponzi too, until I actually did the research, and I encourage people to do the research. It is what I've been searching for 30 years as the perfect hedging tool to the fiat Ponzi. So the question about Deutsche Bank, look, I called, thanks to the credit default swap market, the failure of Credit Suisse about 3 years ago. Okay, but I'm not the only one. I was just taking information that was presented in the credit default swap market and telling you that a bank could not survive with that cost of funds. And sure enough, over time, it bled itself away down to the point where a bank run in the USA caused contagion so that Credit Suisse had to get acquired. The biggest thing that happened in the Credit Suisse debacle was these capital structure bonds called alternative tier 1 capital bonds, AT1 bonds, got zeroed out while there was still equity value. They rewrote the laws of finance to jam this merger through and get regulatory approval. This is so dangerous what happened. And again, the fiat system isn't making mention of it. There were lots of Asian investors apparently that lost tons of money because the bondholders got zero while the equity, the stock of the company, still had some residual value. Okay, this is the risks of regulatory overreach as well as the banking system. I wasn't even aware that the chairman of Deutsche Bank left, but I'd say he's a pretty smart guy because Deutsche Bank is baked as well, okay? Deutsche Bank is in worse shape than Credit Suisse. It's only math. And Deutsche Bank has trillions and trillions of dollars of off-balance sheet derivative products that are such a mishmash of mismarked exposure that Deutsche Bank's market cap right now, which is less than 20 billion US dollars, is vaporized in a nanosecond if you had to market the Deutsche Bank book. So if I was the CEO of Deutsche Bank, I would leave that place too. It's over for them. Now, they might get bailed out. They might get merged. The Central Bank of Germany can't possibly let them fail. But in terms of market value of their stock, it's not a stock anymore. It's an option. And the downside risk on that option is far higher than the upside potential. So just manage your risk appropriately, guys. Deutsche Bank has been a slow motion train wreck for about 10 plus years. And they're not the only one. Banque Nationale de Paris, BNP, the other globally systematically important, or GSIBs, the systematically important banks, are all in the same boat. Why? Because they're all levered about 30 times to their true risk absorbing capital. And that's the nature of banking. So over to my friends, Jeff and Larry, to answer the other questions. I swear to God, I'll try not to talk for the next 30 minutes. Okay, guys, please. I want to learn something here. Go ahead.
I'll just jump in quick, Foss. Obviously, we always love what you have to say. You're so animated. It's awesome. Animated and informative, which makes you awesome. My only thoughts on Deutsche Bank, I hadn't heard either that the CEO left, if that's what we're talking about. But I would say I agree with Foss very much so that banks in general are in trouble. And the tide is going out right now, as Buffett used to like to say, right? When the tide goes out, you see who's been swimming naked. The banks that are hurting right now, they're dealing with a real problem, right? They're dealing with duration mismatch. As long as the yield curve is inverted, the way banks in general make money, right, is they borrow short from the deposit base and then they lend long. And when you have an inverted yield curve, it's practically impossible to earn actual money on their deposit base. So they're hoping for this yield curve to uninvert, to steepen at some point, hopefully sooner than later. The ones that were financially unsound to begin with are really hurting right now. Credit quality is the credit crunch is happening, right? So basically what's happening is banks are less and less willing to make loans out to people unless they have higher and higher credit scores. They're battening down the hatches right now. What happens at this point in the cycle is that the duration mismatch risk that we've seen in banks, Silicon Valley being one of them, that starts to turn into other kinds of risk, right? So credit risks, solvency risks. We start seeing these banks as they lose their depositor base and as they're forced to sell their long-dated treasuries and as their long-dated loans start to come into trouble, they get paid off or they default. That is trouble for banks. And at some point, that becomes a solvency issue. And so we're still heading into that part of the cycle. I don't know if it happens this quarter or if we're still, months and months and quarters away from that. But if the CEO is fleeing Deutsche Bank, I'm just telling you, there's more than one cockroach here. So it didn't end with Silicon Valley Bank. We're going to see some more insolvencies before this is over, and we're definitely nowhere near being over yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, let's bring in SC58.
Thanks, Wolf, for having me up. CK, Jeff, Larry, Greg, appreciate all you guys' wisdom. I always love listening to you. I have kind of a question/request. You guys always give great information. I know where all of y'all come from as it relates to your histories, investment, what you do, and I think you all do great work. The thing is, and I've heard a couple of you say this already, when I started learning about Bitcoin, I was using Bitcoin as a hedge against the fiat system that we all talk about. Well, I think most of us up here at this point can agree that whether or not the endpoint comes quickly, slowly, how that occurs, what the exact endpoint is, the endpoint is Bitcoin. And so I now refer to things as, in my investment portfolio, my asset allocation is a hedge against Bitcoin. I no longer refer to Bitcoin as the hedge. And I think I'd really like to kind of hear our industry as a whole make that paradigm shift to, we all know where we're going. So let's start talking about it honestly and saying, look, is there something we're missing? If it is, fiat is the hedge. Bitcoin is no longer the hedge. Bitcoin is the answer. So it's kind of a request to some of you guys that speak all the time. I'd love to hear you guys referring to it more that way. I've done it for about 2 years, and that's how I approach Bitcoin as a whole. So thanks. That's all I had to say.
Anybody like to take that? I see Tom's hand up. Not sure it was on that. Jeff, want to go for it?
Just real quick, I'll jump in. Foss talks a lot about Bitcoin being insurance on the traditional fiat system, and I agree with that. But I would say, and I think he agrees with this, it's so much more also. It's literally an alternative parallel monetary and financial system. So because of that property, it acts as insurance against the collapsing fiat system, but it also offers an entirely different paradigm. That's sort of thinking of Bitcoin as insurance is like the gateway drug to this whole new monetary and financial system.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. And John, I just want to say thank you. I followed you for a long time, sir. One of the things old clucks like, and I said clucks, yes, not cucks, but we are cucks as well. Old cucks like Larry Lepard and myself, whether you're a converted gold bug, you understood there was something wrong with the existing system, and therefore your thesis could 100% be correct. But I have always spent my life talking to the big money that tends to manage money through the rearview mirror. And managing money through the rearview mirror requires you to speak their language, which requires you to convince them, firstly, that Bitcoin is required in every portfolio. And you know, they're not going to jump in there and get a 10% allocation overnight. Firstly, they couldn't possibly. The price of Bitcoin would be trading over millions of dollars per BTC just on that asset shift itself. But the key is to convince them, yes, in stages. Yes, okay, it's insurance. Then it's more than insurance. Then it's the Lightning Network. Then it is the future reserve asset of the world. But John, it happens in stages. And so while I love the way you're thinking, you're not the standard out there. You've done your homework. You've done the thousands of hours of work that requires you to understand that, yes, it is the solution and everything else is the risk. And so, you know, and I guess when you're saying it could be the hedge, it's the hedge against you being wrong on Bitcoin. But mathematics doesn't lie, okay? What I will say is this. The only thing I've ever been certain with in finance is the following: fiat debasement. Fiat debasement is 100% certain because it's only mathematics that we can't escape this global debt spiral. So if you start with that, then you're 100% correct. Everything else, you need to hedge against the fiat debasement. So gold is good, but not as good as Bitcoin. I think Larry would agree with me there. Real estate is good, but damn, if you have to leave a country because your prime minister is a buffoon and he's going to nationalize everything because, you know, budgets don't balance themselves until you have to repossess all real estate to actually balance the fucking budget. Well, you can't move with your house. So real estate's a store of value that's not as good as Bitcoin, not portable, not divisible, not as easily transferable. You know all this stuff about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the apex predator in this certainty that fiat will debase. Okay, how do you manage your portfolio from there? Be very careful about your bond, because bonds are a fiat contract, right, John? And you may lend a country $100 for 10 years, and you're highly likely to get that, not certain, but highly likely to get that $100 back. But when you get the $100 back, it might be worth 65% of its times zero purchasing power. Man, that's a fucking horrible investment. But that's what bonds are. And every cuck out there that manages fixed income knows they're up against it. Don't you think the bond king, what's his name? Forgetting his. No, he used to be the bond king. Who's the new bond
Jeffrey
king?
Gundlach.
Gundlach fucking knows this 6 ways till Sunday, okay? But he can't not talk his book, okay? He cannot not talk his book. All fixed income managers understand that they're managing a melting ice cube asset class. And they're fucked. They're so fucked, it's not funny. So yeah, that's where...
Only came out and said he supports gold, and he knows the Fed only has one course, and that's to print money. So, you know, even he's in our camp. Now he's I'm sure what he's done is, if he's smart, he's shortened up his duration a lot, because that's really the only move the bond guys have right here. Because longer term, they're just these long-term bonds are just totally useless. But you can get, you know, 5% in 3 months, and that's not bad.
Well, Larry, look, I'll tell you this. I agree with your duration call, but the inverted yield curve is not going to last forever, which means in a normal yield curve environment, you don't have short-term rates that are far higher than long-term rates, which means something is either going to break or the system ends, because the system doesn't work forever on an inverted yield curve. Again, that's also just mathematics. So something here is not right. Something is very wrong in credit land. And everybody's whistling past the graveyard. And I'm just telling you, when credit breaks, it breaks hard. And things like the TED spread and Eurodollar futures, everything breaks. And guess what? There's no new issue high yield. There's no new issue equities. There's no refunding. Equities are getting slammed like some, like the poor second class citizen that they are, and people have no idea what to do. So
that's why I restate my comment. This bubble is at the sovereign debt level, and so when the sovereign debt level bubble completely bursts and breaks, we're going to have hyperinflation, and we're going to have it within 5 years. I'll stand by that.
That's what makes a market, and that's why you and I are going to be pickleball champions of Florida, because that's all we'll be good for in the next 5 years, okay? So here's what I know. I know that it's all about mathematics and it's about managing risk, and I don't have that certainty, but nor do I have clarity, okay? I just say manage for the potential outcomes. Managing risk is managing a probability distribution of which you have to put different levels of probability on different outcomes. Here's the beautiful thing, people. I don't care when it comes to Bitcoin, because all paths lead to Bitcoin. It's pure mathematics. And if you failed math, you shouldn't be managing your own investment portfolio. And if you failed math, you shouldn't be the prime minister of a country thinking that budgets balance themselves. And if you failed math, you shouldn't be, well, Elizabeth Warren failed math, okay? I'll just leave it at that. So understand we're up against a bunch of cucktards that have failed math at every single level. And the beautiful thing about Bitcoin, you don't have to worry. It's decentralized. It's based on mathematics and code, and you are not hostage to any centralized control. It is so friggin' beautiful. I just have no other way of describing it. But do I own 100% of my portfolio in Bitcoin? Absolutely not. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't need to. You have 5 opportunities in your life over a 60-year life, 5 asymmetric trade opportunities that are going to present themselves. And you're going to miss 3 of them because you're too stupid. And here's the funny thing. You might take one other one and you don't have the guts to stay in it forever. And then there's Bitcoin, which is the best asymmetric investment opportunity I've ever seen in 35 years of managing risk. And we got morons like Peter Zeihan and Elizabeth Warren and Warren fucking Buffett running around dissing it because they know that it will disintermediate their system. Jamie Dimon understands Bitcoin. He's absolutely petrified by it, and rightly so, because it will disintermediate JP Morgan Bank at all levels, including credit cards and money transfer, wire transfers. So I said I wouldn't say anything. To make myself certain I don't say anything else, I'm dropping down and leaving the stage to Larry and Jeff Ross. Okay?
No, Foss.
No? Okay, I'll just stay here. But I'll try not to talk.
We only have 15 more minutes, Foss. So if you can stick around for them, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to say, Greg makes a really good point, which is that, the current system that we have is not only very difficult to, manage your wealth and manage your finances effectively, especially if you're not the sharpest at math, if you will. But a lot of that actually has to do with the fact that the current financial system is very, very opaque. No one really knows what's happening, not even the central bankers. And if you compare that to an alternative system like Bitcoin, which I agree with both Jeff and Greg, not only is it a hedge, but it's actually like a complete alternative. It is a new system with a new way of allocating and measuring capital. It is so clear and so easy and so transparent. It's actually a 180-degree difference from the existing financial system. And it really does simplify and definancialize your money and your value and your ability to save. And you don't have to be a genius in order to stack sats and hold them yourself. It really does simplify a lot of that. And I think that's a really big reason for why Bitcoin. Not only is it this kind of hopeful future, but it also is just a massive simplification and clarifying technology on our existing financial stack. And I'm really excited for it.
So here I go, CK. I couldn't even stay 5 seconds. Look, there's research. So first of all, Bitcoiners happen to be some of the smartest guys I've ever come across. And that's not saying much, I guess, because Wall Street is full of a bunch of dumb cookies whose daddies went to Ivy League schools and therefore got their kids jobs on Wall Street to follow in their own paths. And by the way, I went to an Ivy League school so I can call out the Ivy League cucktards, okay? At the end of the day, there's this kid who works for Swan Bitcoin, which could be a competitor of Bitcoin Magazine. Who cares? We're all rowing in the same direction. He has designed a open source webpage called nakamotoportfolio.com, where you can input your representation of your bond and stock exposure, and it will spit out portfolio optimization strategies, including allocation to Bitcoin, which will show improved returns and reduced drawdowns and reduced volatility over most periods, which is to say, Bitcoin adds alpha and reduces portfolio volatility for every single portfolio out there. If you just fell off the turnip truck, but you are some portfolio allocator and you run these models and then decide not to allocate to Bitcoin as a diversification tool, you should go to work for Towers Perrin, because those idiot consultants take about 20 fucking years to figure this out, and you will have missed the boat, okay? Bitcoin is the ultimate apex predator, and it's also the ultimate portfolio diversifier. And if you don't believe me, go and run it on nakamotoportfolio.com, and you will realize that you increase returns and reduce portfolio risk with an allocation to Bitcoin. Well, that's what's called portfolio optimization theory, people. And that's what everybody since Harry Markowitz in the 1950s has been striving to attain. And we finally have that asset in our possession right now. And most people won't do the homework to understand how beautiful it is.
Yeah, Tom?
Oh, yeah. So many topics. I'm going to bring us back a little bit, and I wanted to kind of get thoughts in this room. I'm loving all this, man. I wish this could go all day. I could seriously listen to this all day. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are, basically going with Russia and the central bank, kind of the freezing, and potentially that being putting Bitcoin on a little bit of a speed run. And I guess the breakdown of this question is, do you see that really as significant overall? Any impacts, etc.? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll take that one. It was huge. It was as big as Nixon breaking the gold standard, because what it like the seizing money from the truckers. What it basically said is, we're not going to play by the rules. And so every single country in the world that had U.S. dollar reserves said to themselves, holy shit, if we do something they don't like, they can grab our money. And basically, it's going to be looked back on as one of the most stupid strategic moves ever made by a U.S. administration. And it was the kickoff. To me, it was the kickoff event. It was like the starter gun to the death of the dollar as a fiat currency.
All right, let's bring in Ems, see if you have a thought to throw into the conversation here.
Hi, thoroughly enjoying this. I jumped in because Eva was here, and I haven't spoken to Eva in a while. Foss, very interested listening to yourself. It's nice to hear or listen to someone that's passionate about anything, let alone Bitcoin. I wanted to ask you a question, and sorry if you've already covered this or if this is a very noob question compared to the level that you guys are discussing this at. But you mentioned with regards to, Bitcoin being decentralized and whatnot, how do you currently hold your Bitcoin, Foss? This is a personal question to you. Are you using centralized exchanges and then withdrawing this to a ledger? Because, and also, this prediction of this super inflation, what is there to stop? You probably know more about this than me, being from the US, but what is to stop the government from just shutting down everything if things don't go their way and just printing money and making everyone bow down to this so-called superinflation?
Well, thanks for the question. Okay, so firstly, how do I own Bitcoin? I actually own it 3 different ways. So, of course, I own it in cold storage. And that's the only way you can own Bitcoin and not have any counterparty risk, right? So I'm big on counterparty risk because I've spent my life trading credit default swaps and the like. And I know that if you buy insurance from an insurance company, but the insurance company is not a good counterparty, what's the value of that insurance? So I own Bitcoin in cold storage. I own a little bit of Bitcoin on a on an exchange, in a on-chain wallet, and I have a Lightning wallet. But full disclosure, I actually own Bitcoin in Bitcoin ETFs in Canada. Yes, Canada did come to the table and have the first pure Bitcoin ETF, spot-based Bitcoin ETF, not a closed-end fund, a Bitcoin ETF that trades in Canada that I can hold in a tax-advantaged account where basically the government subsidizes 50% of my Bitcoin purchase. I know I have counterparty risk, but I view that as being, hey, that counterparty risk is offset by a tax advantage where I hold Bitcoin in a tax-advantaged account. So that's another way I own Bitcoin. Not my keys, not my coins. I get it, but I'm also being rewarded as a Bitcoin holder or as an asset manager by a 50% tax advantage. Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Government of Canada. I also, God forbid, admit that I own GBTC. This is called the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And I own GBTC because it's trading at a substantial discount to its net asset value. But I don't own it if it ever got to a premium above its Bitcoin, the net asset value of its Bitcoin. But at some point in its life, it did trade at a substantial premium because it was the only option out there for people to trade Bitcoin in the USA like they trade the common stock of JP Morgan or Schwab or any other equity list or exchange listed equity. So I own GBTC. Hey, I'm not the sharpest tool in the drawer, but I do know buying something at a 40% discount to its breakup value is better than buying it at a 40% premium to its breakup value. And if GBTC ever became the ETF in the US that Canada already has, that premium would go to zero. But I don't ask you guys to follow my investment. I will just say this. Everybody has a different level of requirement for Bitcoin in terms of their percentage allocation, EMS. My thing that I'll go to my grave saying, if you own zero Bitcoin, you're taking more risk than having a proper portfolio allocation. It's that friggin' simple. So figure out how much you need to get and dollar cost average over time to take advantage of a volatile asset. And you'll see that over time, if your portfolio gets up to 5% Bitcoin, don't worry about the 5% in Bitcoin. Worry about the other 95% that's not in Bitcoin. It's that simple. So I own it 3 different ways. I guess you could say 4, but I've owned Bitcoin since 2016, right? And here I was out shouting from the hilltops when Bitcoin was trading at less than $1,000. Bitcoin's going to $10,000. Did I put all my money in Bitcoin? No. Did I participate in the upside? Yes. Do I balance risk along the way? Yes, I do. That's the way I manage risk. But I'm very happy I had more than 0% in Bitcoin for the last 5 years. And I think the rally over the last 5 years is going to pale in comparison to the rally over the next 5 years.
I love you, Foss. I don't want to interrupt you, but I know we're running close on time. I do want to ask you guys, do you guys have Noster? Just everybody?
I do.
I do.
I do. Yeah,
We
I
should
do.
all follow each other.
Noster is great, y'all. Bitcoiners are building the future of social media, and it's on a protocol that interoperates with Bitcoin. It's awesome. If I could just add to M's question, I really think that you don't need that much Bitcoin. I know that a lot of people think that's an unpopular opinion. You can never have enough is something that what Bitcoiners say. But if you think through Bitcoin success scenarios, you don't need that much Bitcoin, especially at today's prices, to be very wealthy in the future. The key is getting that Bitcoin across the turbulence, getting your Bitcoin to that higher purchasing power levels of a Bitcoin based world. So you should focus on what you can acquire and store in self custody safely. Learn about self custody. So that's hardware wallets, that's multi-sigs, that is seed phrases on steel, and make your stack survivable. And outside of that, risk management, diversification, holding on to cash, maintaining your lifestyle, all of that is up to you to kind of manage for yourself. But acquire Bitcoin in a way that's safe, that you don't have to over leverage yourself. Store it in cold storage, learn about cold storage, and let Bitcoin do its thing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the feedback. I mean, I guess that's the idea. Funnily enough, one of my best friends in the world tried to introduce me to Bitcoin, I think in 2017, and I ignored him. And here we are. So, and I've been involved in crypto now heavily, I'd say, for just over a year. So it is what it is, and very interested in hearing everyone speak. I appreciate your time.
Hey, Ems, it's Foss again from Canada. Can't shut up. Remember, there's Bitcoin and there's crypto, and there are very, very different specifics about the various digital assets. Okay, I own Bitcoin as insurance against the fiat Ponzi. There is no other digital asset that can make that claim, because no other digital asset is as decentralized, and no other digital asset can actually tell you what their true supply program is. So Bitcoin is unique. Bitcoin is unique, okay? Bitcoin is the digital asset that requires blockchain. Every other blockchain in the world is actually redundant, okay? If you don't have true decentralization, you don't need a fucking blockchain, people. Learn the technology, learn why a lot of these other shit coins are nothing but pump and dump fucking scams. Sorry, I gotta go. Love you, USA. See you guys.
Thank you, Foss. Appreciate you being on here as always. This was a really fun hour and a half. We've got just about a minute or two here before I do transition. I want to thank CK and Dr. Jeff for helping me set this up, get a lot of these great speakers in here. Big shout out to CK for everything that they're doing at the Bitcoin conference. One more time, if you haven't checked that out, there's a link in the top of the space. I will be hosting the party of the week, I like to think, at the Bitcoin conference. It's going to be on May 18th. You can RSVP for free via the Google form that's at the top of the space. I hope to see you all there. It's going to be free drinks, open bar. It's going to be free food, charcuterie boards, mystery gifts, raffles, all that good stuff. And hopefully on a nice rooftop in Brickell. So with that being said, CK, wanted to turn over to you real quick, see if you had any other thoughts you wanted to share here today.
Yeah, I want to thank Greg, Jeff, Lawrence, Tom, Evil, SC, Below, Ems, everyone who came up, shared. I want to emphasize on Foss's last point. It is very confusing out there. There's, the crypto space is a huge space, but Bitcoiners, the people on this stage, we often, think that Bitcoin is a very unique thing. It's separate from crypto. And that's a big part of the Bitcoin conference is we are a conference that is a big tent event. It is an amazing event where people from across many industries, energy, Bitcoin, crypto, political sphere, they all come together to gather and learn about the innovative technology and the movement that is Bitcoin. And it's one of the best places to expose people to the ideas behind Bitcoin, not crypto, and Bitcoin only, and this idea of building a future on the sound monetary protocol. So come join us May 18th through the 20th, Miami Beach. I think, Wolf, you have a promo code. I don't know if you want to drop that. You can save money. Yeah, code Wolf. Save some money when you purchase your ticket with that code. And, really recommend people purchase your ticket today, b.tc/conference. The event is going to be here in less than 4 weeks, and ticket prices go up this Friday. So it goes up today. So do not hesitate. But yeah, everyone, really appreciate everyone who listened and participated, and looking forward to seeing everyone in Miami.
Perfect. Thank you, CK, Foss, Jeff, Tom, Bila, Lawrence, Ems, and SC. Always great having you on spaces, as well as Evil. We are going to roll into my next space now. It's going to be an entirely different topic, as is the typical mark of Wolf Financial Spaces. We've done 5 different topics today. We've done live trading. We've talked about Web3, a bunch of stuff. So I want to thank everyone again for being on and wish you all a great rest of your day. I'm going to change the title of the space. We're going to have some new speakers coming up. I'm going to clear some stuff in the top of the space real quick.
Thanks for having me, guys. See ya.
Thank you, Foss. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Wolf. Take care.
Thanks. That was great being here.
Pleasure. Take care, Tom. Good luck with the live stream. Okay. All right. I'm changing the title of the space. Mike, can you hear us loud and clear on your end?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
All right. Sorry, guys. I had been scheduled for that Twitter space for like a week or 2 weeks, and honestly, I didn't know how it was going to go. I've chatted with Wolf I didn't know the other guys. I recognized some of them. And about 5 minutes into it, because my plan was to do that and then stream at 1:30, leave the space early. But the conversation got it just got so good. It got so lit. Like I just immediately, without even thinking, just threw it on the stream, went live so you guys could hear it. That was awesome. Like that was one of my favorite things. Wolf, like I said, will be on the stream next week with us. He's a very intelligent guy, great dude, but I want to get Foss on. Nothing against Wolf. Wolf's going to be a great time too. At some point we'll have him on next week, I think Wednesday. But I'm going to do everything I can to get Foss on here, man. I have a feeling me and him would have quite a conversation. Let me see if I slide into his DMs on Twitter. I'm going to creep in, slide in. That space. Please come on my live stream sometime. All right. So this is a little bit different of a video. We've never really done a format like this. I'm sure a lot of people tuned in and were like WTF and then left. The reason I wasn't talking to you guys while it was going on is Twitter Spaces, for no explainable reason, has just a very, very poor development team. And there is no interlopability between the PC and the Twitter space. So I couldn't use my mic to talk to them. I had to use my headphones, which are connected to my app on my phone. And so if I had my mic on, you guys would be hearing like a crazy delayed echo, and it would have just been very confusing and in general, not a good time. So I did the best I could. I actually tried to figure that out a year ago when Twitter Spaces started, but there's no really good answer. There's really no good answer. So we have been live for a little bit. But we'll do some charts. We'll do some stuff. What did you guys... Yeah, Colin McDonald. This was a not miss stream. Agreed. That was a not miss space. You guys know I love talking. The format of a Twitter space is a little different for me because typically I'm the one talking, right? It's nice to sit back and listen. I'm not going to lie. But it also is hard to keep track of just all the things, as there's 10 speakers up there, everyone really intelligent people going through different complex topics that I might not be an expert on, and even just keeping track of them. If you guys liked this style of format, certainly not saying this is what we're going to do every day or something. We're going to do our streams. But if you like this style of format, we could look to try to see what kind of big spaces I can get myself into, and I'll get better at it over time, and I'll figure out better audio. Where maybe you guys essentially, like you were doing, kind of feeding me your thoughts, your questions, and then I was able to go and ask them in front of like a big audience there. I really enjoyed that. I don't think it's an everyday thing. You might have an audio answer. Pickle, do some Googling about it, because I did spend a lot of time, and I'm no expert. You're much more of an expert. But Twitter doesn't allow you to participate. You can listen. So what I did is I just had like the browser window open, logged into an account with the space up, and then I was a speaker on my own account. I had a different account up, the Crown Analysis account. Do some research. It's not as simple. I thought I had an answer using a fancy $700 switch deck thing. Didn't work. But if anyone can do it, it's you, my friend. I appreciate you. That would be great. I'm in. I'm in. I like doing the charts every day, but like right now, the last few days, while it is spicy, Bitcoin, we have some bad news about our fractal. It is spicy, but it's been mostly not the most hype maybe the last few days. And I think basically I'll use my clout, which is a bunch of bullshit, my clout, my subscriber view account, whatever, to weasel my way into some really elite big boy spaces. And you guys can make me look smart. It can be like Tom GPT. You guys can be the AI. I'll just be the person typing the prompts. That would be pretty fun. I do see we have John subscribed. That might be the only subscriber. I wouldn't blame a new person who came in here today and kind of turned around. Not really sure what was going on. I wouldn't blame you. But if you're out there today and you haven't subscribed, join our family and know that we do very different content usually. But I like the idea of incorporating that. So let's get the post 420. Let's get the post 420 hypes up. Let's get the likes up. We got 450 viewers. Not bad for totally different content. There we go. I see them popping up 250. They're moving on up. Boom. Foss already Foss already replied. See, that's what I mean, guys. I don't know. It's weird. People seem to think I'm famous, which I'm not famous. I don't feel famous. And I still think it's weird when people say that. But what I can do is, from that whatever perception of fame, I can get people to reply that don't reply to everybody. And so there we go, man. Foss, I just said, that space was lit. Please come on my live stream sometime. And he said, I'd be happy to. Nice to meet you. Like, boom, done. I want to have him on. I want to be on some of those other spaces too, though, because I hadn't heard of half those people. And while I didn't agree with everything they said, I was just so into the conversation and a lot of their ideas on things, different takes I had never really thought of myself, and then a lot of overlap, a lot of things that were the same as I think. This is only available, huh? That's weird. I was trying to turn on some tunes. Just turn on some no copyright sounds, some chillin' tunes. Let me know if it's too loud. Well, shout out to John, the sole scriber today. The sole scriber. Yeah, let's go through it. I do have big news as well. I mean, it seems like big news every day. We will get into some charts. We have been live for a while, but big news. We have a new sponsor, but it's not a new sponsor. We have a returning sponsor. You may have noticed in the bottom right. Femex rejoins the Tom Crown Familia. Links in the video description below. I thought I made a button for it. Dang, that's not good. I'm not a very good sponsoree, am I? I'm not a very good sponsoree. Femex, though, they were our original sponsor. They saved this channel. They saved us. Last year, long story, but they were the first people when I said, hey, man, I need money. Things are a little rough right now. I want to keep going. And they said, Tom, no questions asked, yes. And they saved us. We went through some sponsors since then. Kind of did our rounds with only the best of the best. Fairdesk, still our sponsor, still best of the best, of course. Sign up with Femex using my link. No KYC. You'll get some bonuses by using my link, etc. Same with Fairdesk. They're both amazing. I use those platforms myself. But I just wanted to disclose that and share that again with you guys. You'll see them more going forward. I will be in Bitcoin Miami, like they said. I'm also going to NFT and Estonia, or Tallinn in Estonia on May 5th through 10th. You can check that out in the video description below. No more shilling. No more shilling. We're done. Fembots. Lemo. I have no idea how to say it. I have no idea how to say the name of the exchange, and I can't get clarity from them because almost none of them are native English speakers. You're just joining Annie.com. You're just joining. Did I do TA yet? Literally none. You joined at the best time. Best time. We're going to do some TA. We just did I was in a Twitter space, so I was like killing two birds with one stone. We just jumped off of that, and I'm actually just reorienting myself here quickly before we jump into the charts. Interesting. So I do, somebody said something. This has been on my mind since they said it earlier. Now, that's not a good place to start. It's not a good place to start. There's so many places to start today, man. That space just got me a little jazzed. I'll be real. Did take some of my energy, but it got me jazzed. Let me make sure everything is good to go because I have to transition out of the way I was doing the stream a second ago. Got to close the 800 Twitter tabs I pulled open. There we go. There we go, boys. Something that I really did like, I did not hear of this before, or maybe I did and never checked it out. Not a sponsor, not paid to show you this. NakamotoPortfolio.com. So I haven't had time to really jump into this yet. I have to fix the screen now, don't I? Because the screen's off kilter. See, I'll have this all set up. This was the first time we've done anything like this, so I had to kind of improvise on the fly. I was gonna wait till it was over and then go live, but I didn't think that was a good idea. There we go. So that should do it. If we're gonna do more Twitter Spaces going forward, I'll definitely have a clean setup that looks good and is easy to transition through. So never heard of this before, or maybe I haven't never looked at it. NakamotoPortfolio.com. Not a sponsor. I don't make a penny. I'm not associated with it in any way. One, really cool landing page. Makes me want to click it. But Foss was talking about this, and basically this is something that it's like a portfolio. Wow, it's also a little trippy. I don't know how long is it going to take to get to the page. What he was describing it as is kind of a mechanism to view how Bitcoin will impact or could impact your portfolio retroactively, looking back in the past when you had added, or what the heck is going on here? Do I have to click again? That's weird. Swan.com. Now I feel like I'm getting fished. Like, what's happening? Maybe it froze? Maybe it's because I have Brave Shields up? I mean, I'm enjoying the animation, don't get me wrong. There we go. This is obviously more than I could read right now, but the way he was describing it is that there's a lot of research here. You can run numbers, Bitcoin retirement account, several potential benefits, and an IRA. Like, this is really cool. This is a page that I think is great to give to someone who's not a crypto person. To be able to, I mean, they have to be a math person. Someone who's investment minded but not into crypto, so that they can get a very simple run on the numbers of what things would look like had they done, any kind of allocation, any kind of addition. And one of the things I liked that Foss said was that on this site and these calculations, that essentially adding Bitcoin at any time to any portfolio that didn't have it in the past, even apparently at the worst times for price, had led to was it less volatile portfolio? Something like that. It had benefit at any point in time, at any percentage. And I think this is the thing that people can relate to. I will say the landing page was dope. This is garbage though. This is, my ADD won't even let me look at this anymore. The stuff it does is awesome. I'll look into it more, but like, they need to redo that page so it's friendly. That's way too much. Way too much. Gary, have we hit rock bottom yet? We're getting into that. BTC skyrocket. I hope so. RV DeLone. Mike. Nand. It's buggy. Yeah, it's a little buggy. Miro, what's up, my friend? Colin McDonald checking it out. Brendan, the new loading. It just keeps loading forever. It's a good way to get engagement. Do you guys remember Flash Player? Do you guys ever get nervous? I remember Flash Player. Yeah, check out crowdanalysis.com. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. We're going to do a little analysis here. We've been live for a while, but let's do a little bit. Dixie ranging. We're going to look at the dollar. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance. Ethereum, because we had a little trade ski there, but we're not going to go into a million charts like we usually do. I mean, Tom G, if it comes to that, we may even go to Zombocom. Who remembers that? If you remember Zombocom, I'll give you a hint. It has to do with me and CryptoFace. If you remember that, you're an OG here now, officially. Welcome to OG status. Finally got your airdrop for Flare. Me too. It was like $1.50 or something. Give us some alpha, dude. That whole hour or whatever was just straight fire. But we'll do some alpha. I wanted to engage with the chat a little bit. See who's here. E-Bombs World. Now you're giving me flashbacks, dude. You're giving me flashbacks to what was it? What's that song? The ultimate showdown of ultimate destiny, good guys and bad guys, as far as the eye could see. If only one could survive, I wonder who it would be. All right, I'm being silly here. If you're here, Newgrounds, amen, Newgrounds. Nostalgia Road, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Mario Kart. No, that's not this kind of channel, though. Could be. If you're here, put some noise, make some noise. Let me know you're here. Let me shout you out. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe so that you'll get pinged just like John, our soul brave warrior today. Subscribed earlier. I was going to try to engage a little bit, but we might as well get to some charts. The Bitcoin gods are fickle. Indeed they are. By the way, if you haven't been here in a day or 2 or 3, we have a ton of new emojis. So if you were gifted an emoji by Lord Jarky, put some of them in the chat. Cheap Vlog, hello from Estonia. Hello, Estonia. I will be there May 5th. Cheap Vlog, are you going to ETH or NFT Talon? You should, because I'll be there. We can chill. We'll have a beer. I'll have one beer with each of you. So if there's more than like 40 of you that show up, I am royally effed. I'm royally effed. I think I could do maybe 40 beers, then I'd throw up, and then I'd pass out and sleep the next day. The entirety of the next day. So I bookmarked that. Let's do this quick. I'll update you guys. I have gotten riggedy wrecked on my Mexi account here. Riggedy wrecked. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry. I was going to start with my losses, but I guess I'll start with my gains. Femex, our sponsor, signed up using my link. That long is still good. We did take 3,000 in profit. Of course, it is down from the 8-ish thousand it was at 31,000, but it's still open. For those of you curious, how much have I paid in fees? Why doesn't it show me? Oh, it does show me. I can't tell easily at the moment because I have realized it took some profits on this, so it's negated. So I guess net, I'm still up 3,000 realized, 3,500 unrealized. I wanted to show you my losses though, because I have a few more little W's, but the losses are where we learn. We don't learn from winning. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. In trading, you don't learn from winning. You learn from losing, which is a harsh reality, and that's part of what makes it difficult. Let me log in. I didn't have this set up because that was totally unplanned, and I just like went live really hastily to try to get it. I'll log back into this BS. Some exchange that's not even our sponsor. Nah, it's Mexi. Mexi is great for like altcoins. They have a bajillion, like they list everything, which means, you know, it comes with a lot of risk as well. But I did take some big L's. I took some big L's on 420 because, guys, I celebrated hard. And I think I somehow am still just a little bit from yesterday. A little bit 420'd. A little 420 hangover. I didn't think it was possible. But it is. So I did the bad thing, and I was trading when I shouldn't have been. Lesson learned. I'll say that, but again, of course, I will make this mistake again at some point. Here we go, boys. Who's ready to see Tom Crown? Smash the like button to see Tom Crown riggedy wrecked himself. Boom, right here. Order history. Boom, 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 boom. Loss. This account was at $2,000. I think at the start. I would say the first week of this month of April, up from $1,000 at the start of March. Look how hard I wrecked myself. Now we're down to 800, which means I took over a 50% loss since Monday. 420, you were worth it. You were worth it. But man, should I not have touched my trades. Is what it is. On the flip side, though, I didn't only just lose. I did some losing, but I didn't only just lose. And let me pull those up as well. So I had 2 shorts open from the high 30s. So on Fair Desk, the first one, I actually forgot I had set a TP here. Or not TP, a stop loss. I do regret that. I set the stop loss. I guess this closed at 28.3. It was a total gain, $270. That's really not a lot. This is the 14K account. So not really what I was hoping for. But that's okay because I had a separate position open that's still in some juicy profits here. This was the larger. I showed both of these, I think on Wednesday, if not on Monday. I showed both of these. This is the lower leverage, higher margined position I had open. The entry price was way worse. I really wish the other one would have stayed open. Entry at 30.2. This is now up 37% or about $1,000. I am likely going to decide during this live stream if I want to close this. I like it open as a hedge because of, you can see, while it is half a Bitcoin, and you can think of that as like a 15K position maybe, what it really is almost $3,000 on margin, which is why it's at 30% gain with $100,000 unrealized P&L. I do like this open as a hedge. I think the answer is that I should close some of it just like I did with my long on Femex. Maybe during the TA today, I will be able to identify where I might want to or where that might invalidate. Man. I went live so hastily, there's not even a poll. There's not even a poll in the chat. What is this? What is this, man? This is like JV. I should have something pinned. Let me do this quick, and then we'll get into the Fractal and the TA. With our re-sponsor, Femex. Fire. They really are a great exchange, guys. But like with all exchanges, I've used Femex for many years. They were my first partner. They're honestly, you shouldn't go by what I say, like in my opinion. You should never trust anything centralized. But out of the exchanges that are outside the US, Femex is the one I trust the most at the moment. That shouldn't influence your decision making, but they are a great exchange that I've used for many years. I've never had any issues. I have great connections with them. So if you have issues that maybe their regular trouble support can't handle, I can probably help our community get connected to someone who can. Sign up using my link. It helps support the channel, etc., etc. You'll get bonuses. There's no KYC. I just have to disclose it occasionally while I'm streaming. That's the law. Okay, I pinned that to chat. So we were looking at this fractal, and oh man, as fractals do, maybe it doesn't play out, right? That was always a possibility. It was remarkably similar. I have good news and bad news. The bad news. The good news. The good news is it's not off the table yet. It has hit the levels that we basically are saying, this is it. We really, there's a little more wiggle room in some ways. We kind of took this from the previous fractal here. This is the post-March 2020 crash, recovery, final bear trap into the new all-time high. So we were seeing price action on the 4-hour over the last few days. It was very similar, and I had multiple people, OGs, kind of allude or identify different elements of this. So it's a little bit of a collaborative thing. I would say already it's having some trouble. So the bad news is, or the good news is, it's not off the table. The bad news is that it's very much in danger, and it's even getting kind of closer to where we might just say, yeah, this is not looking right. That's okay. A fractal breaking doesn't, it doesn't have a significance. It doesn't, you can't trade against it or something, meaning oh, if the fractal breaks, that means we can't go up. It doesn't work that way. Really, with the fractal, you just look for the pattern and you look for the invalidation. If you want to trade the fractal, you find your invalidation, and that's basically where you place your stops, etc. So I'll go into the critiques of my own theory here. When we did this move from our low to our high, we never tested the 618 on the pullback from 12 to 10. Let's see where we are now, because I have a feeling we've tested the 618 just looking at it. Let's throw that up there. You take the lowest point to the highest point, boom, there we go. We've tested the 618. That doesn't mean it's broken, but that is not a great sign. It shows us that this isn't as on course as it was. For instance, let's put it on a lower time frame. Yesterday, when yesterday's price, where did it go? It looks like, all right, yesterday, the first 4-hour candle bounced at 28.5. That was really on for the fractal, because we were saying below 28.3, it's in danger. And I'm just going to go with 27.2. I think really this is up to you guys where this is off the table. I think you have plenty of reason. If you're out there saying, Tom, that looks broken to me, why aren't you saying that? I will say you have plenty of reason to think that. The exact area where we said fractal will be in danger or invalid, we have seen price trade below and reject as resistance we're on the 4-hour time frame twice already. That's not good. That's not bueno. Actually, look at how it's interacting on the hourly. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I'll say 5 times. 1, 2, 3 lower lows. Actually, I don't hate this. I don't hate this because it does seem to have a flat top bias, but we'll get into more TA. So I'm going to say, I will just declare this dead. I'll declare the fractal dead under 27.2. Right here. I'll say it's dead. While it's in here, I'm just going to say it's in danger. I don't feel as confident about it. The likelihood of it playing out is less, right? That's how I view this. I don't think we can see basically a low of the previous structure break and it be a fractal. I think that'd be too different. That would be too different. So our fractal's in peril. By the time we stream next stream, I'm sure we'll know. I'm sure we'll have invalidation or validation. What is going on this gosh darn chart? There we go. There we go. I'm sure we'll have a clear yes, it broke, or no, it didn't break by next stream. We did though. So here's the thing: is people might be saying, "Tom, you're wrong." And I know, make fun of me. It's fun. I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind when you make fun of me for it. Well, this fractal might break, and while I might have been wrong, maybe I was a little too big for my britches here. Let's think of the value we got from this. By identifying these pieces, we actually got a ton of value. You guys know I'm a permabull. I do try to fight my bias, but I can't always perfectly do so, and it does sneak through. Price moved up, and people were pretty bullish, up at 31. However, when we identified this pattern, and that was actually right around here, this time frame, the entire last stream, I said we could see a retracement up to like 30K, but if it does, I don't see it breaking through. I don't see it breaking through, and we are still expecting downside price action. So that was, when was that, man? 2 days ago. Wednesday and then Monday. Huh. Yeah, Wednesday and then Monday. Let's actually do 12-hour. Today is the 21st. Dude, I'm still like 420 hungover. My brain's trying. I think it was like around here. I was like, we could see a move to like 30. I'm not seeing it in the lower time frames, but it's possible. However, even if it does, I don't see it breaking it. I see us moving lower to not only fit the fractal, but that is what our indicators, that's what my analysis was showing me. So even if it dumps down below 27.2, and if it goes all the way back to, say, the 200 weekly at 25.5 or something around there, I haven't looked in a bit, this fractal gave us a lot of value, because even me as a perma bull, I opened short. I was looking for further downside price action, and as a trader and as an analyst, that is my weakness. That is, everyone has strengths and weaknesses in their trading. Everyone does it differently, but that's my weakness. And I always make that obvious to you guys. I don't try to hide that. Identifying your weaknesses is definitely how you improve. So this fractal may not play out perfectly. It still might. It's still, the low could be in right here, could move up, paying out perfectly, and that'd be awesome. But it's already given us value because it told us or suggested to us that even someone as bullish as myself may look to go short. It even gave us a decent level, 28.3. Not a bad level. That's a pretty good gain. And that's the only reason I have, shorts still open in profit right now. So I don't say lesson learned, but I don't know if there was really a lesson. I was kind of just ranting. Nice. We got some, the viewership's turning up a little bit now that we're back to our normal content. That's a good. This was a chart from last time, I think. 20. This was from the future. Oh, wait, the 19th. I thought it said April 23rd. I was like, this is a chart from 2 days from now. Let me see if I can pull up. Do I have an April? This wasn't 19th, it's 17th. What were we looking at April 17th? It's not there. Definitely looking at this, but this is nothing new and nothing. Ooh, this is, guys, a lot of people kind of troll me about having so many charts, and mostly it's just myself, but there's value, and that value I need to utilize more is if you do TA every day and you have a new chart, and yeah, you can't do that on the premium or the free version, you have to have like premium and stuff, but what you do is, okay, go back and look at them. See where your brain was at. So this was originally from March 15th, and I've been riding this thing because I've been riding this hard because it was a great call that played out. They don't always do that. This is it's interesting. So this is not going perfectly. It did go perfectly for a while, but I never would have thought about this, and my brain never would have gone back to this idea. So look where we are. We're right back at the trend line. We have already tested it. So I will say testing it again is not bullish. We don't really want to. We want to stay away from that trend. We want this low to be in. And what's interesting is that actually does line up with our fractal invalidation very closely. I like that. There's some confluence there. Let's add the 200 weekly. So 200 weekly is right below us. It has now moved up all the way to 25,870. Wow, that actually, it's been a long time. 25,870. It was all the way back at 25.2 when we first started talking about it, maybe lower. This is where we would probably look if our fractal breaks here. If we see, you know, our maybe 27.2-ish, we lose this trend line, probably we would see something like this. I would expect likely a move below this trend, a move in a reversal, a bounce back to the trend, test its resistance and reject down. And the 200 weekly, that would be basically, I don't know, that would be the start or the finish line, as I said the other day. That would be the decider. Moving back below the 200 weekly, especially significantly, I think puts this entire 23 run in jeopardy. The 200 weekly is honestly, if it breaks, is where I will begin to go back into like kind of my bearish vibe, where I'm not looking for upside as much. But we are still healthily above there. The fractal's still potentially in play, but this does give us something to look for by the time that would happen, unless, I mean, it could happen quickly, but by the time that would happen, I would assume this will be 25.9-ish, the 200 weekly. That'll be pivotal. Losing that again will never have had happened in Bitcoin history. In fact, trading below it like this had never happened in Bitcoin history. But I would hope that we do find buyers there if we trade there, as this has been historically outside of the last year, the ultimate Bitcoin spot entry thing. It was almost that simple up until last year. As we see over and over again, the things that we know to be true and that always happen just seem to be breaking down. They don't seem to happen anymore. They don't happen anymore. The only thing left standing is the 4-year cycle, which you heard me last stream, you've heard me over this month. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to break that too, because it's the only thing that remains. It's the only thing that we know. Everything else broke. So let me really quick flip through here, and I'm just going to talk about Marketcipher B, because this is how I orient my compass. Shout out to them. Links in the chat. Links in the chat. Daily, money flows red. Momentum is at the 0 line, which is a blessing and a curse. Momentum's at the 0 line. But what I like here is, finally for once, VWAP is actually flattened out and or trending back up while these two come down. So this isn't bullish in of itself, but this is what I always want to see when we're seeing a low. Now, money flow hasn't broken past its April low in April 4th. So it is still technically trending up until it does, but it's like a slightly bullish it's like a bull flavored seltzer. You know, there's not even enough flavor in there for you to really tell what flavor it is. It's just seltzer. So leaning bearish, but that VWAP does give us a little bit of a, hey, maybe if you zoom in and you see some more bullish things going on, maybe you will look for money flow to then move back to green on the day, and for momentum to catch at that 0 line, which we see some of the most explosive moves at. And we come down to the 12-hour. I have not looked at these today, and boom, there we go on the 12. This is what I wanted to see, boys. This is what I wanted to see. Oh, perfect. This is a rare gem, actually, that we get something good like this. So first thoughts here, looking at VWAP, the yellow. VWAP is trending to 0. Excellent. That's what we want, because we see the daily has flattened out or has begun to trend up. This is the 12-hour. It logically is going to respond a little bit faster to the movements, be a little bit more paced, give us more false signals, but it's going to react faster. Money flow, even doing the same thing that we were seeing VWAP do on the daily. So the 12-hour actually is looking very good from what I'm just on the day in the 12 here. Even if the fractal breaks, I don't see significant downside quickly. I could still see this all like adding up in my brain to the 200 weekly, but I think that even might be a little low. So the 12-hour, it is heavily down on momentum. It hasn't pinched yet, but VWAP is creeping up, and despite momentum moving down, so is money flow. This is the most, not the most bullish setup ever on the 12-hour, but it is the exact thing I wanted to see after looking at the daily. Let's go down to the 6. The 6 hours produced the green dot Marketcipher indicator, which lots of people use. I found them to be pretty good. They usually mark a bottom, but that doesn't mean they mark a macro bottom. Just a bottom. Could be on a low time frame. Could just be for a little bounce, but it's an encouraging sign. However, the other indicators on here, I'm not seeing very encouraging signs. Momentum pinching here is good, as we do want to see the 12-hour tighten up and roll back into positive momentum. VWAP is in positive, which is good, but just barely, which is a little threatening. But this is what I don't really love here. On the 6-hour, now we're down to half of the 12-hour, which is half of the daily. We have a lower low on money flow. This is a downtrending money flow. This is the only thing not in alignment with what we've seen so far, and it is important. It is threatening. It is threatening. Don't love it, but I like what we're seeing so far. Let's keep going in. 4-hour looks pretty garbage. VWAP's coming down. Money flow is just bearish AF. You can see we had the little green dot here. For perspective, the last green dot actually fired pretty crappily on the 4-hour. Oh well. No indicator is perfect. VWAP's come down. Money flow. 4-hour is not showing us much of anything good. We do see one thing, and this is, I'm just cherry picking here. 4-hour is like leaning completely bearish. There is one thing here, I guess technically two, that give us some bullish signs. One, we do have, with very high probability, a bullish divergence building. This purple line is actually the RSI. Might be confusing if you're not familiar with Marketcipher. I'm going to make this white for you. This white line is RSI. And what we see here is a bullish divergence forming. We have a low, a lower high, and now we have a low, but it's not a lower low. In price, we already have that lower low. So this bullish divergence is already forming, provided RSI doesn't get dragged down lower. But this is giving us a potential early warning of bullish divergence forming, or that there may be a reversal brewing. I like that. I don't want to argue that for the 4-hour. I probably should look on the higher time frames if we see that again. I wasn't paying as much attention. Simply because the 4-hour looks like crap. And also what we see here, and this is something interesting I don't talk about a lot, is Stoch RSI and RSI have crossed. This has not been the most reliable indicator in my experience, but I do use it in my analysis because it is actually not super common to get this kind of when you need it. And what this is showing us, I believe, is that Stoch RSI is currently lower than regular RSI. So Stoch RSI is basically the exponential moving average of moving averages of RSI. So there's like EMA and MA, and there's Stoch RSI and RSI. And you can think of that as like EMA RSI. It's the exponential version. It's the faster reacting. It's the more swinging RSI. And when that happens, we do tend to see some kind of upward motion. But the 4 hours definitely not giving us anything that we can go off of. Neither is the 2-hour. This is absolutely brutal. Holy shit, this is brutal. Holy shit. Just complete downtrend on the 2. Wow. Yikes. Yikes. Not what I wanted to see. Not at all what I wanted to see. This money flow low really goes back. Man, last time it was this low is November. The last time money flow on the 2-hour was lower than it is right now. Right here, right now. Was right here. Literally at the low of last year, 15.5. Well, it did go slightly lower in price. But on the initial sell-off, that is essentially money flow is the same right now, or just slightly less than it was right here. That's wild. To me, that does feel like the pulling back of a bowstring we talk about at times. When your indicators are getting overexcited, but price isn't reflecting it yet. I like that. That's kind of going along that divergence line of thought. The 1-hour also looks like crap. Also looks like crap. Money flow is very similar to right here, down at 19.5. That's what's really... So this is what's catching my eye. Right now, the weekly looks like complete trash. It's bearish engulfed. It looks like complete trash. But what I do like is on low time frames, we are seeing similar statuses to significant pullbacks, right? So 19.5 here in March, very similar on the 1 hour, all the way down to 15K back here in November, similar on the 2 hour. Yet look at this pullback. We haven't gone anywhere. It took the strength that this took to drag price down. The money flowing, negative money flowing strength to pull price down 22%. We are seeing that same reading right now, and we've only moved 10%. That is a divergence of a kind that I don't have a name for, but it's very interesting to be getting these really, I don't want to say oversold conditions, but I think that's how people will understand it. To see like how oversold it is right now and compared to previous lows. This low hasn't gone anywhere, but it's at those same oversold levels. I like that. That is actually confidence building for me. And the first bullish thing that I think we've seen since we got off like, what, the 12 hour. But even the 12 hour wasn't that bullish. I'm going to flip through the lower time frames really quick just to orient myself. I'm not going to like narrate them quite as much. Heavily negative momentum, not superb. 15 minute, not superb. I'll be damned if I could find a single time frame that does not look like it's moving down. I'll be damned. Maybe we should put a poll. Let's do a poll while I allow my brain to like do all the math. So which comes first? Which comes first, guys? It's 25.8 200 week, or let's try to do like the same amount up and down to be like about 30K. There we go. There we go. 25.8 or 30K. What do you think? I'm curious. Well, I'll be down, the baby. Oh, baby. Everything is pointing down, Jonah. I agree. And I've been doing this for years, and I have been caught so many times when everything's pointing up. I've been caught. Everything's pointing up. Why would you go short? I've been caught on that side so many times that finally, I don't even know how many years into this journey I am. I think I'm finally starting to catch myself. Is everything's pointing down, and it would mean, oh man, I should be even more short. But I don't think so. I do think the 200 weekly is a logical place for it to bounce, or a logical place to see more downside. I do think our fractals ripped at 27.2, and I think 27.2 is still completely on the table. It absolutely like is suggested right now. Even that's what the chart is looking at. If we look at just indicators, it's looking at 27.2, and potentially lower. But the fact that literally every time frame I look at has the same almost completely one-sided bearish reading, I feel contrarian. I feel super contrarian. I feel so contrarian that I'm going to do something bold. I'm going to do something bold here. You know what? This is such bad. This is such bad trading if I do this. I almost don't want to do it just because I don't want to enforce this in your guys' heads. Nope. I was going to say I'll rip off a long, but no, I'm not going to do that because if it works, I don't want people to like, no. But what I will do is I'll do something bold, and I will move my stop for this position that is short and $1,000 in the green. So where would I look? You know, I'm actually going to go back to this chart to look. Let's see. Let's make some assumptions. Let's say we do move down to 27.2. We'd likely be looking for a move back to 29.2 either way. Let's say we move down to the 200 week. 29. Wow, that's a beautiful trend line. This trend line, 1, 2, 3, 4 tests. Let's see where the daily opened. Daily opened. Let's see where the weekly. Here's your weekly. That's your weekly bearish engulfed. That's why this looks so ugly. Above 28.345. We do have 2 days, so that might actually get stopped. 28.3. The current stop on it is nothing as far as I know. Oh, it's 31.1. Oh, okay. All right. So 31.1, we were looking at $300 loss. Price is currently at... Whoa. What happened? A shift button got held down. Liquid price, entry price, side. Doesn't tell me the current price. I have to look down here. 27.8. So if I close it right now, it'd be a $1,000 gain. That'd be pretty sweet. How about we do... I'll do a 50% stop loss. I'll do 50%. Oh, no. Nope, never mind. That means... Okay, that's gains. Alright. I'm gonna have to figure this out later. For now. Because it was opened at 30.2. This isn't a good one. I'll just put 29. I don't feel good about that. Where does that relate? 29 all the way back up here. I don't feel great about that. Alright. 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 I'm gonna move my stop loss up. That will be giving up a lot of my gains. I likely will change this. But just for now. Just for now. Because I got so riggedy wrecked on the other account. I'll place this here. Yeah, I'll be giving up a lot of my gains. This is probably not the smartest. But there we go. Order submitted. Stop loss changed. Boom. Instead of opening a long, that's what I'll do. Man, no time frames look good. It's none. Let's see your poll. 66% of us, only 200 votes, not bad though. It's not the biggest viewership day. 66% of us looking for 25.8. I like that. I like that. Everything's pointing down. 66-ish% of our community looking down. Seems like there's a lot of agreement about down. I think we're due for a bounce. This fractal might have a leg left. I mean, it already is a little ripped, but it might have life yet, sir. It might have life left. I kind of want to rip off that long. Honestly, guys, I'm going to do it. I'm going to rip one off, but I'm not going to show it live because I don't want to encourage this. I think this is a really risky, dumb idea. And I think I can even say, honestly, I'm really just like revenge trading at this point. Like I'm revenge trading. Don't do this. Don't revenge trade. They changed their damn site. Can't find it. Yeah, I'm not even going to show you. I'll show you guys later. I'll put it in the Discord after the live. Put it that way. Okay, go to perps. I'll put the trade into the Discord. I'm not gonna show it live because I think it's a really dumb idea right now, and I don't want to encourage that. But I'm revenge trading, boys. Oh, I'm revenge trading. Oh yeah, rock and roll. I never do this. I don't know. The whole kind of consensus of it being, the whole consensus of the chart of it moving down for me is what's like making me do it. So I'm not going to open the whole kit and caboodle. Oh, nice. We're like breaking literally lower. I'm going to open 25% here. Long. It's like 10. I don't want to do limit. I want to do market. Yep. I'm going to rip a long ski. I'm going to rip your long ski right here. I'm going to probably look. So I did 25% of this, $800 I was left. I'm going to do another 25%, maybe at 27.2. Will I get liquidated? It's only 2% move. Nah, it's on 16x. I'm going to add right there. I might blow this account up. And it might happen quickly. This could happen today. That's okay. The only reason that I can actually do this is because I have these hedged counter positions open. So if I get instantly wrecked here, if it instantly goes down, even though I market it in, and it goes down below 27.2, and then I'm even more underwater, My short position then is by definition not getting stopped. There it is. There it is. Not getting stopped. And my net here is not going to be a loss. But what I am doing is I'm giving away the gains that I should have with the short. So I ordered in. I'll show you. I can't do the snipping tool. The snipping tool is bad. Well. Ooh, getting alerts. See, yep, we hit another low. Yes, phone, I know. I'll put it in the Discord. Very briefly, though. Oh, no, now it's 2% up. Woo, to the moon. To the moon. I'll put a shot of it after the stream. By the way, if you're here and you haven't joined the Discord, it's the best way to keep up with the live streams. You'll get some updates in between streams. And you'll get some free Satoshis or free Bitcoin. I airdrop it after every live stream, and I make you all Bitcoin holders. That is my gift to you. And it's just our community, so jump on in. Ooh, we have a second subscriber in a 3-hour-long stream. What's up, Foot? That was 10 minutes ago. I didn't hear it. Foot, where's Hand? Hand to join us. And then we'll have we're working towards the whole anatomy here. So that was a little revengey. I don't do that. But that's not financial advice either, to not do that. I don't know. Don't copy my trades. I'm just telling you guys what I'm doing in real time. Kind of like verbal diarrhea, except I've been doing it a long time, so it sounds better than regular verbal diarrhea. There's no rhyme or reason. I have literally no rhyme or reason to do this. I don't see anything on the charts to do it. I don't see anything bullish. I'm just playing the counterintuitive game here. 65% of us say it's going down. I agree. The charts that I'm seeing, the way I interpret charts, agree. I don't like the consensus. I don't like the consensus. So I'll take the gamble. LFG. I mean, and I still have the shorts open, so it works out. Tom created a green candle. Well, thank you, Juggernaut. Definitely did not with my $200 of margin, but if you want to think that, I won't stop you. I won't stop you. You bought a PEPE. You bought PEPE, got wasted. Pat Murphy, where were you last stream? Where were you last stream? Oh, wow, it did. We were back here last stream. And we couldn't do anything with it. It was like the day it came out. What happened since then? Look at this. Look at this. Completely. This is, I don't know. This is what you get when you have a centralized coin. A coin that's an ERC20 that someone just imagines and then pumps itself. Look, it broke its all-time high. Didn't move. Didn't go to the measured move. Just hit stops. Like it started trading, hit a high, dicked around, hit stops on longs, moved up, broke your high, hit stops on shorts, then just came back down, made sure to turn back around and just nip them one more time. And look where it is. Wow, what a bullshit chart, man. Hopefully, my advice for you guys on the last stream, not financial advice, my surviving crypto advice was, if you saw it, it wasn't timestamped, unfortunately. I wish it was when you're confronted with something like PEPE, we looked at the market cap. We talked about, I don't know, we talked about everything we could about it. But I said, look at the market cap, and this is how I have stayed safe in crypto, is when I see something, I look at its market cap. Its market cap was like 1.5 million or 150 million, something like that. Incredibly small. And I said, a great way to control risk in these, if you're feeling FOMO and you just absolutely can't stop yourself, yeah, you want to go all in because it's going up forever, is manage your risk by position size. For instance, you could, if you can't fight the feeling, buy $25 or $5 or whatever that is for your portfolio. Something less than 1%, but something that'll just scratch that itch. And that way, if it goes to infinity, you have, $25 times infinity. That's infinity. If it goes to zero, you've lost $25. I bet a lot of people got wrecked on this. I'm really glad. The only thing I remember from that stream that I said was bullish about it is I said the only points it gets from me is the total supply was 420 trillion, 690 million. That's the only thing I remember about the whole thing. And that's not a reason I would ever invest in something. I hope you guys didn't get too wrecked. That's all I can say. You got, when you It's almost like today I opened that long because I see such consensus of up or of down right now. That's the only reasoning. I had no other analysis. In that same idea of consensus or hype, when everyone's hyping PEPE, like when we streamed 2 days ago, you want to drill into yourself fear. You want to swap your emotions in markets. When you see people getting really hyped, you want to drill into yourself. That's the time to feel fear. And when you see everyone really scared, like that's kind of that bet today. Not only are my charts saying it, but it looks like our bullish community is betting down. You want to instill greed, or you really want to just have the opposite reaction, and it's not easy. It's not something you can just snap your fingers and do. You might be able to say that, but you can't. It's something that's going to take time. It's going to take lessons of learning. But once you can get past that, you're going to become such a better trader. Absolutely. Good luck on PEPE, guys, but I have nothing else to add. Nothing else to add. That chart doesn't have enough data. It wasn't a good idea then. I don't think it's a good idea now. USD trading sideways, or Dixie trading sideways with lower highs, very low volatility. Didn't even come back up to the top of the channel. Today's Friday, so let's look at the weekly close, because this will close for the week. Bitcoin won't, but the dollar will. I think on Monday we talked about the dollar closing above 102.1 on the week. I wanted to see it close below that. I did not want to see it bullish engulf in the weekly, as last time we did was the previous low we broke last week, and we rallied. And we fell again. Looks like bears defending that candle here. 4 hours to go. Would be very interesting. I honestly just want it to close right here. I just want it to close here. I almost don't even want it to come back down here and close red. If it closes red, I think it'll look too much like a doji. It'll look too reversally. It'll look too much like this starting. I'd like to see it right here. This looks like a nasty trap candle. Came up till the previous week's open. Hit stops. Baited in longs. Ooh, bullish engulf on the week. Dollar's going to the moon. Closing right here would be just such a, like a weak, it's just like a limp bullish weekly close. I like that. I like that. The only other thing I would like more than that is if it, in the next 4 hours, which we're about to see in 50 seconds, the last 4 hour candle open, if it dumps down and breaks its low of last week and closes like below 100 and 100.7. I don't think the probability of that is any good, but that would be the only thing I'd like more. I want it to be right where it was. Gold kind of doing the same dance as Bitcoin, it seems, going to a high, higher high and pulling back in its resistance zone. Not a lot there. Not a lot to talk about. Dominance, though. Dominance is playing with our heart. Quit playing games with my heart. Bitcoin dominance. See a little bullishness here. You have bullish. So on the day, you have bullish divergence here on your lows. You have a low and then a higher low. We see this on MACD. That higher low brought our oscillators lower on RSI and MACD. We see a lower low here despite the higher low. That is bullish divergence. That is looking for the move to the upside, I suppose. However, the daily isn't everything. That was a pretty gnarly candle close. Dang, I didn't even see that. Oh, that was last week's close. I didn't notice that. That is a really savage rejection from the channel it's been in for 2 years. Last time it rejected on the weekly that hard, man, it's actually even hard to find. Like right here, October 21, brought it right back down to the bottom of the range. That's the only one I can even see. That's pretty bad. Kind of the same thing I was just talking about with the dollar on the weekly close. Dominance rallied, bullish engulfed briefly, and then before the week settled, or I guess we have 2 more days, too early to call, but now potentially looking at that same scenario. Money flow is strong on the week, but VWAP is pointing down with momentum, and we do see that pulling back. So we don't have a rollover signal yet. So as far as I'm concerned, dominance is still trending up, but that can change as the next week rolls over. If we do see lower lows, all we have to do is see a very slight pullback here on the weekly money flow, and that's really going to synergize with this VWAP and momentum combo. And that will be probably cementing for me that we're going to the bottom of the range. I'm hoping we go to the bottom of the range. I don't want to see Bitcoin dominance break up here, though. Though I do think that is probably the more likely thing, that it will go to a new high. I don't want to see it. Wow, the monthly's just cranking up. Yeah. I don't want to see it. And it's just the same thing as 2019. And so that means we see a dead cat bounce if the same thing repeats. We see a dead cat bounce, and then we go back to our lows. I don't want that. But we have been looking for a return to the 618 from our high to our low for over 2 years now, and that would put dominance right around 60%. That's the likely scenario, I believe. There is a fraction of a chance, and I've been saying this for a little bit, that dominance doesn't break. I mean, it still could even break here and then come back down, but that dominance goes back down to the bottom of our channel, and not just does it go back down to the bottom of our channel, but it breaks to a new low, and this would be significant and very important or very interesting for crypto, because what would happen? It would mirror much more closely what we saw in the previous cycle, where essentially we hit lows, we hit a lowest low, which was exaggerated. It was much farther down. We didn't get that. These were essentially all the same hits here. This is just a sideways channel. We didn't see this like falling. We just saw one fall. Whereas this was a fall bounce, fall bounce, fall bounce, fall bounce. Into a higher low, into the bear market, into the 2019 rally, which took us to the peak of dominance. That would be the expected move. But if we do see a return to the bottom of the channel and we break our low, if we see something like this play out, Bitcoin dominance going even lower, which apparently Bitcoin's going even lower because I'm getting alerts. I believe that we break the 4-year cycle if this happens, and that might imply that we see a new all-time high this year. I'm waiting for dominance to guide the way. Oh no, is our fractal wrecked? Uh-oh. Oh no, my precious fractal. Hold here. Hold. Deploy. Hold. Steady, lads. Deploy the capital. Deploy in the capital. Steady, lads. Famous last words. Let me really quick double check, make sure I did put that limit order. I did not put the limit I wanted. Limit at 20.72. Right at that invalidation. If only just to maybe protect my precious, precious fractal. It doesn't really work that way, by the way. 230. I'll go with. I'm gonna get so wrecked, guys. 230. Let's go. Okay. Rest in peace, Tom. Rest in peace, Tom. That's okay. While I blow up the one account, the other account short is still covering it. Charts all set down. I've been talking about some up stuff and opening it long, but no time frame is saying up. That position is totally just being contrarian. And it's not printed money right now. It's not doing good. Lol. 1 sec. The short's still doing great. Up now about 1,100, 1,200. I'm so sad this one closed. But that long is eating it. I mean, so you can see the short's up about 150 extra. This position that I stupidly opened is now only down 20 bucks. Hopefully you can understand the mathematics going on here. But Bitcoin is dumping. And it is dumping while we're live. All right. All right. LFG. We're getting very close. We're definitely in the realm of this fractal is living on life support at the moment. It is on life support. It was not even good at the start of the stream. We're seeing it trade lower. And I wonder if they're just going to push it on down. Push it on down. 27.2. And I will officially bury the fractal. But we're going down. Surprised there's not more viewers. I guess no one cares. Let me change the title. No one cares is dumping. Also, we've been live for hours, and so we're probably out of discovery. Probably not in the discovery, but that's okay. But the viewership's going up. I don't know. Who cares? If you're here, though, make sure you smash the like button, subscribed. Let's get some hype going for the Bitcoin dump. and what's going to maybe prove to be one of my longest streams of all time, because obviously I'm not going to stop now while it's dumping. Though I was like ready back here to stop streaming. I'm not going to stop while we're dumping. Gonna have to stay live. This is what we do. We'll have to probably, like, I don't know, stand up at some point. Readjust my junk. Get the blood flowing back in my legs. Whew. Sitting too much is not good for you. But if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Join our family. Okay, we have 3 total subscribers now. I want to shout out. I guess I'm not hearing the alerts. I turned it down. This is the hardest name maybe to date. Etiham Sakwib. Etiham Sakwib. Welcome. Even if I butchered your name, welcome. Bitcoin is dumping. Our fractal is getting slain. Why am I excited about it? I don't know. Just because it's moving, thank God. Even our beautiful megaphone pattern is now being put at risk. No bueno. No bueno. Total crypto market cap looks absolutely garbage, breaking past that weekly pivot. Oh no. Oh no. What's happening? Is the dollar like seeing last second strength? Nope. Not related to the dollar. The dollar has done nothing, while Bitcoin is crushing my dreams. Oh God. All right, well, we're definitely going to stay live till the fractal breaks. If it breaks. Because here we are. Didn't take long. Didn't take long. Told you guys there was nothing pointing up. And maybe this is a good lesson on how difficult it is to play that counter game. Right? Because everyone's betting down, but everyone's right. Just like when everyone's betting up, they're right for a little bit. And exactly when is the very, very difficult part. What did they do to this site that made it so hard to navigate now? I have to like click 80 different things. Okay, my long, did it fill? Let's just pull it up. I don't want to encourage this debauchery because this is bad trading. There we go. I got the fill, 27,230. The original fill is 27.8. Short's still doing good though. You see, the short is printing more than the long is losing. This is a very precarious situation to be in. However, I don't recommend doing this unless you understand what you're doing. It's a great way to get liquidated on both sides. Litecoin breaking 85. No! No! Crypto! No! I'm so sad this one freaking got stopped out. That would have been printing money right now. But we are up 1,200 on this short. I don't know what the F to do with it. We have inefficiency up here at 30. I really think price will revisit 30, even if it's going to dump to wherever you think, like 0 or something. It's very likely to come back for that efficiency at some point, but that's the difficult thing to pin down is at what point? At what point, Tom? 27.2 has been touched. Have we broken it? According to Coinbase, we have not hit the RIP fractal line. But I will remind you that the RIP fractal line is just when I will bury our fractal. It is pretty much broken here. Like, at this point, it doesn't fit in the same perfect way that it did. Or at the potential fractal we were looking at from the past. It doesn't fit exactly the same. Unfortunately. So it is already very much in trouble. But I will bury it, and I will just say I was totally wrong. This fractal didn't happen. If we trade below 27,227, we've come incredibly close. 27,260, and I did manage to fill a little bit there. Hype up the like buttons and subscribe buttons for this, because this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Ripping degen positions off live. Ripping them off. Short's still good. Long thanks to that fill at 27.2 is now somehow only $8 negative, even though it was like 25 earlier when price was falling. I don't. Yep, there we go. I was gonna say it doesn't make sense because it's below our entry. Minus 12% or minus 2%, minus $13. But this is a bigger position. Now up 1 1/4 grandskitties. What do I want to do? Like a kid in a candy store. I can go longer. I could go shorter. I could go longer. I could go shorter. Let's see what the chat decided. We are so close. Bitcoin's playing games with our hearts. 500 votes. 70% of us are saying the 200 weekly first. I don't know. How much do I have left in this account? Am I going to liquidate this whole damn account? I think I am. I'm going to have lost. We were up 40% on this account in March, from March 1 to the end. Then we were up 100% on this account by mid-April, and I might be betting the farm here, and I might lose it all on this account. I shouldn't do that. That's just bad. I already revenge traded this enough. How big's the position? It's only 1/4 of a BTC though. It's because I turned the leverage down like a beach. Damn. You have 800 of equity. You have 300 available. So this account's pretty much already in, almost all in. No, I'm gonna do the smart thing. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm losing, so I might as well lose it all. That's the worst mindset you can have. No, I'm losing, but that's okay. But Jarky, the Jarkster. I sent you emails, buddy. Let's put some Jarky emojis in chat for the hype. Jarky swinging in with 50 memberships. If you got gifted one, show him some love. Show him some love in chat. We've got a bunch of new emojis if you haven't been here. Get it hype. Bitcoin's dumping. Somebody's ready. Steve V's ready. Anon's ready. Babyfish. Ironfall. Not a lot of subscribers, but a lot of memberships going out today. Bad jerky, my friend. It's been quite a stream, and it's still not over somehow. It's still not over. I'm ready. I'm ready. Ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready. Can you guys even hear it going off? I know I have the music turned down and the alerts down. Whoa. I realized my microphone's up a little loud today. My bad. If that's kind of sucked. I'm going to mute this for now because all 50 of those will take like 20 minutes to play out. And then there's 50 more. I love you, brother. Jargy is the Santa Claus of crypto, and he's here when we need him the most, and that's right now at this rip fractal level. We need him the most. Show him some love. Showering us with gifts during the darkest times, hopefully just trying to brighten our days just a little bit, and it's working. I don't know. Even though it's going down and my fractal's breaking, like I still got good vibes. We have gained, I guess, a total of 9 subscribers over this 3-hour, 15-minute long stream. Wow, that's so savage. That's so low. Oh man, that's so low. You're doing 100. Damn. Hype. 150. Memberships now by Sir Jarky. By Lord Jarky. Put the emojis in chat. Put them in chat. Say thank you, but Jarky, you're the man. Because you are the man. Thank you for being so generous. So giving. Sorry, I'm doing something else and getting distracted. Okay. And put those emojis in chat to show thank you. There is a Bajarky emoji. Make sure to use that one. Concurrent viewership is climbing up to 700. People are finally catching on to the spice that we've been watching for 3 hours. We've been watching the spice for 3 hours. Our fractal is essentially ripped. It is pretty much ripped. A solid close today. We have 4 hours, 43 minutes. A solid close today could keep this mega Bullish Megaphone in play. I don't know. Everything was pointing down and then it fell down. Next downside target. If Fractal doesn't hold, oh my sweet baby Jeebus. Sweet baby Jesus. Bajarki. Jarky hype. Hype to Hugo. Miguel. Fonseca. Ooh, this is hard. Mosinho. That was bad. That was bad. LFG back to 20k? I don't know, man. Are you ready? If you're ready. If you're ready, subscribe. Love you all, says Bajarki. Bajarki, we all love you too. We love you, bro. We love you. Much love. You didn't get it. If you didn't get one, make sure you have opted into them. You have to opt into them on YouTube. I don't know how to trigger that. I think when you join the live stream, it should ask you if you want to opt into them. I don't know why you have to opt into them. I can't imagine what... I don't know how you could abuse that. I don't know. Then no, you have to be opted in or you won't get them. YouTube says the more you engage with the live stream that they're gifted in, the more likely you are to get them. So that means liking, subscribing, sharing, voting in the polls, chatting, just general hype. So those are the only ways you can increase your chances. Sensing a weekend pump to 30k. So what's interesting? Fractal's just I mean, it's like it has 1 HP left. I'll put it that way. Fractal has 1 HP. 1 HP. Out of like it had like, I don't know, 50 HP and it got crit for 49 and now it's out 1 HP. But something that's interesting. I'm going to see if this really lines up. No. Something that's interesting. We do have a CME gap. It's interesting you talk about it. We have a CME gap below us at 20,000 and 21,000. So you have I don't know if this is even where you were going, but this is where my brain went. CME will close in 1 hour and 51 minutes. Bitcoin will continue trading. I will say it is likely that CME closes here. Could be down more, could be up a little bit, but I think it closes around here, around this like 27, 28. Maybe even as low as 26. I don't know. Now probably like 27 to 28. What's interesting though is I think it closes here. We have a gap below us, which is fun because that was filling in a previous gap. So we filled in a gap and then opened up a new one. What's interesting is, so the fractal we're looking at right now is this price action. Is this exact price action. And what's interesting and it's catching my eye is this price action also left us a gap. And this was the gap that, what? This was the gap that put the nail in the coffin for bears in 2020. That gap was the nail in the coffin. This, literally every bear in the world was waiting for this to fill. It did not. It went to a new all-time high. So, do you feel what I'm feeling here? Now, it's not the exact same thing as being set up necessarily. And we could even say, well, if you're looking at fractals, then wouldn't you say maybe it'll do this? Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. That's totally valid. Maybe it will pull back to mirror what happened here and just touch the gap and move up. That would actually be something that I hadn't considered until literally right now. This would be interesting. But kind of what I'm getting at, though, is the previous bear market ended with a CME gap that everyone was waiting for. We kind of have one right here. And we're waiting for basically a crappy close on CME. Where it opens next week will determine if there's a new gap or not. Depends how much volatility we get over the weekend. Is there a tiny little gap here? You know, no one's ever talked about this. Although CME, this data may update and it may like change over time. Maybe that's why. I've never heard anyone talk about this. There's technically a $20 gap right here. That's weird. And I find it hard to believe that actually that data has been there, or else I would have caught it at some point. It's almost not even worth putting on there, but that's spicy. We have a really similar setup. Maybe that means, it looks like this pulls back to the top of the gap, but the previous bear market ended with the gap. Maybe this is the gap. I don't know. Just spreading hopium as the chart looks really brutal right now. Just spreading a little hopium. Just a wee. Just a wee. Let's look at this for a second. The low on this candle, the low was 27,226. Where do we fill? Right here, baby. 27,230. Had I gone literally with what the fractal? Wow, had I gone literally with the RIP fractal number, 27,227, I would have had it by $1. We would have been $1 off. Well, we would have filled, but we almost were the wick bottom there on that trade. That's spicy AF. Damn, 27,230 with the candle of 27,226, and that's live, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I feel more bullish now. The 4 hour just started, didn't it? No, it's got 37 minutes. God. Rip Fractal. So close. But I've been streaming for so long. I see MCBC has subscribed. Welcome. You the man. Do it. Do the thing. Do the thing. Middle finger. There we go. Colty. What's up, Colty? Thanks for subscribing. Obviously, Bajarki, thank you for the gifts from everyone. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for subscribing, everybody. Thanks for the gifts. Thanks for joining us on this Bitcoin dumperoon. On perhaps the day of the funeral of the Fractal. We have come very, very close. Within 0.15% of the Fractal officially being declared dead by me, the inventor of the Fractal. I don't want to see my baby die, but everything that lives must die. If we break 27.2, I think the test, talking about the poll going on right now, the 200 weekly about 25AK, is the logical target. All of crypto. Holy sh! Look at all these people subscribing. We've been live for like 4 hours. Now all of a sudden we have Abdul Rahman Akhil subscribed. Silver subscribed. Genesis Crypto X subscribed. Cheyenne Abdul Ahi. Is that right? Subscribed. Out of nowhere. We haven't had any like for 3 hours. Now all of a sudden, it's because it's getting spicy, boys and girls. Our Fractal is in imminent danger. Our bullish Megaphone is in imminent danger. It doesn't want to close down here on the day. It wants to close above 27.6. We ripped off a degen long right here. And we ripped off another smaller piece higher. But we ripped off a degen long here. And I said, literally, you'll find it in the recording, I'll put it there just to defend the Fractal. It seems to have worked so far. But I wouldn't bet on it, even though I literally just did. I fully kind of am prepared to get wrecked on that one. I do have a larger short position open. For those of you just joining, because clearly people are just joining. We do have a larger short open. That's the only reason I could be a little bit degen with it. This is up about 1.25K. And the long is actually down 1.7%. Even though we filled at the wick bottom, and that's because I did what lesson did I not do? Instead of using my limit orders like I preach, I marketed. If you'll notice, I guarantee it, if you notice and you go back and watch the streams or even going forward, the hit rate of my trades when I use a market order versus limit order is probably astronomically skewed. I probably win 10 times more trades when I'm using limit orders. I wouldn't doubt it. Like that's just a random number I made up, but that would probably be my best guess, like 10x. What is it? I lacked patience. I just market ordered. I didn't wait. I didn't plan. I just market ordered. I said, everyone's bearish. I'll just market order along. And then I said, okay, well, then I'll go. Thankfully, I didn't go all in. I said, I'll go shorter. I'll just make a small position, and then I'll put a limit order down here at my fractal to try and defend it, which is obviously a joke. Me putting an order there doesn't defend it. But the value there is market orders. What is a market order? It's almost the expression of not having a plan. Not having an entry, not having an exit, not having a take profit. Just entering because you're seeing something happening. And even I do it. I shared with you guys earlier my losses yesterday, my 420 losses. I did a little too much celebrating, and also celebrating while trading, another lesson we talked about today, but I won't even get into that now. Lost quite a bit on that one account. Thankfully, my short did stay open, so I got hedged on a bunch of that. But patience. Plan. Do not make trades in the moment. Make trades in the future. That's right. Actually, that's what a limit order is. It is a trade in the future. Plan in the moment. Trade in the future. Trademarked. Copyrighted. Tom Crown. 2023. Plan in the present. Trade in the future. Brought to you by Limit Orders. Speaking of limit orders, Femex is again our sponsor. They were our first sponsor of this channel. We went ways, but of course, not on bad terms. Went ways. We dabbled. We dated around. We wanted to see, what everybody had to offer. Now we're back, and I'm happy because it is the exchange that I've used the most often for the longest amount of time. Fairdesk, also our sponsor. Another amazing exchange. That's the one that I have my short open on. That's the one that I'm cooking with a little bit of gasoline over there. I really want to move this stop because with the way this is dropping, I do think we will get a stop hunt. I think we will get as high as 30K, even if we go back down. Just not really sure where I want it to stop. Because my problem is I would love to put it right here at this high, or even maybe like 27.8. Right at the top of that fair value gap, right at the previous support. But if that happens, it gets stopped out, and then my long is still open. Now I'm no longer hedged, and now that dumb long trade is going to lose me some real money. 27.9. I have to do my homework on... I did my homework on Fairdesk when it comes to the legitimacy of the exchange. I did. I had a person whose profession it is to investigate exchanges, projects, regulatory, registration, certification, blah, blah. Basically, like a lawyer who determines if they're doing things legally. And Fairdesk got all the thumbs up. They are newer. They got all the thumbs up on that. I just haven't used them as much, and I need to figure out how to take partial profit. I embarrassingly do not know how to do it. And I'm kind of afraid to hit the buttons. I'm afraid to hit like advanced close while it's open because it might just market order it out. But that's what I should do. I should take partial profit right now. I should take partial profit on the short, which it'll still be bigger than the long. I should stop the long out under where I view this as invalidated. Let the short run if it breaks. Maybe look to close a short at 25.9, 25.8. Wonder what that would look like. Take profit 25.8. Yeah, 2,000. It'd be like a $2,000 gain if I can TP it at 25.8 if it hits the 200 weekly. That wouldn't be bad. It would make up for all the losses I had on the other account. That'd be good. 68% of us still looking for that 200 weekly. It's looking more and more likely. I don't know what to say though. We're doing the dance. We're doing the dance right on top of the invalidation. Like, the fractal is already, like I said, legitimately, I could not argue against you if you said that it's broken. I wouldn't have a good enough case. You would be correct. But I also will say that it isn't completely dead until it breaks this low. And the fact that it's come very close and stopped is interesting. Perhaps just warming up to dump lower, but it's interesting. Nothing looked bullish. If you guys watched this stream, I don't expect you to watch the whole thing, but if you were here maybe even like, I don't know, an hour ago, I went through all the time frames and I said, honestly, everything is pointing down. Our votes in our poll, everyone was looking down. I said there's a little bit of hope on the day for a reversal, but we need it to continue playing out. What kind of sucks is this VWAP it was flattened, and now it's no longer flattened. The 12 hour is still kind of giving us the same signal, though. That's the only bullishness we have. We have some bullishness that I extrapolated out in the fact that how low our oscillators are right now at this low, and that's actually, we were higher, so likely they're even lower now. This pullback has been the equivalent of like what these oscillators looked like here at 19.5 after this huge pullback. And many of them equivalent to what they looked like down here at their lows, at the low of last year at 15.5. So I was saying that it's spicy. It's spicy how much power it's building. I said this is perhaps like our bow and arrow analogy. That bowstring is being really pulled back. Really, really pulled back. You know what happens, though? Sometimes when you pull the bow too hard, you have like a robot arm. You got robot arms. You pull it too hard, it can't just snap, right? Just break in your hand. That's possible. But the majority of the time in my experience for markets, when the bow gets pulled back, it shoots the arrow forward, aka the metaphor, the drop for a pump. Here we go. Oh, retested. Retested. Oh my god, how anticlimactic. Double bottom on the 2 second chart, Tom. Double bottom on the 2 second charts going to the moon. Man. Nothing. Nada. Not a single thing. Not no way, no how. RSI is very low. So this is just while we wait, I guess, because I've been live forever and I'm just trying to figure out stuff to keep me engaged, keep you guys engaged. The low hasn't broken that we just looked at. This is interesting. RSI right now, and this goes to that bowstring. RSI is lower right now than it was back here at 24.3. So while we're just sitting here pontificating to ourselves, what we could say is price could go all the way down as long as it stays above 24.3. The nature of it moving down will continue to pull RSI down. But as long as it doesn't break 24.3, it has some kind of bullish divergence forming. If it breaks 24.3, then it doesn't. Then it has a lower low in price and it'll have a lower low in RSI. But that's a long way. We were looking at lower time frames, and like I said, they're about as pushed down as we've seen them. Professor Beans. Professor Beansworth. Okay. Just did some growlies. That's, I can't translate it. It's too complex of a topic to translate. Professor Beans. What are you doing, Professor? Like, not paying attention to you. Regular email. I like PTSD right now with alerts going off. Like, I think more alerts about to go off any second. It's just junk mail. Let's see. Let's take a peek. Well, I'll set this very tight. Obviously, I have a very tight alert set already. Man, I'm so tempted to rip off more here. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to look at like Ethereum and stuff. Let's see where that's checking in at. 7.3. Where's my liquidation price on this? 25.8. Oh, boys. My liquidation on this long here is like exactly the 200 weekly. What does that mean? I think this means I just go full degen, right? See, I'm doing the thing I said that you shouldn't do. This is why I tell you guys. I tell you guys every single day I stream. Don't copy what I do. What I do is not financial advice. You will see me lose money. Don't do it. It's not financial advice. I don't pretend to be right all the time because I'm not. I do at the end of the month You can go out, check March's wrap up. I do go over, I show all the trades, and you can see how I did. Last month was a great month for us. We're up 40% cross accounts. That's great, but not every month. I even said at the end of that episode, wow, that was a really crazy month, 40% up. I said, don't expect that again in the next month. That's not realistic. And here we are. I actually don't know between the accounts what we're looking at yet. But this one had $2,000. Now it's down to like $800. So this one's down more than 50%. The other ones are up though. I think I'm probably about break even for the month. 850. This was $2,000. Boom. Boom, bada boom. You know what? Limit 26. The liquidation's at 25.8. Let's just add there. And, oh god, don't do that. Don't do that. This is so dumb. Did it actually place? No. All right. What in the actual F is... I think we're getting tons of alerts on my phone. Why won't this open as a limit? Sneaky. Limit open. That will move my lick down to 25.3. Okay, that's a little better. That way at least he can tap the 200 and not get liquidated. Okay, I'm getting a bunch of alerts, and I'm assuming that's from other coins. No, it's all Bitcoin. Oh, and the Litecoin alert. Oh no. My babies. My baby boy. My baby boys. Litecoin. Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum first. Oof. Man, this trade looked so good too. We set this one up. This was a nice little theoretical trade last stream, which again, though we didn't catch the bottom, we were looking for the downside. We're looking for like 1910. I think it said as high as 1925. Wrecked through. Damn. Boom. However, interesting. That is right here at the 618 from your low to your high. I think you can fact check me. I think I said if we see this level here break, which it did, that I would be looking for a back test of 1770, the number that I kept calling and it kept coming shy of and then finally broke, to test as support on like a larger time frame. I don't think it tested it on like a daily. Yeah, but it did right away. Not quite a double bottom. Let's look at the indicators. Woo, nearly. If Ethereum doesn't bounce here, 1770. I don't see anything on the charts that tells me that stuff's bouncing right now, but I think they will. I don't know. Why else would I? Oh no, our Fractal's dead. Rest in peace. Can everyone just put an F in chat for the Fractal? Let's put an F in chat for Fractal. I will now take to Twitter. I will take to Twitter now. I won't use the snipping tool, but I will take to Twitter and I will publicly disclose my shame. Rest in peace. It was a good one. F in chat, boys. F in chat. Let me find the tweet. I gotta retweet myself. I gotta call myself out. Here we go. R.I.P. Fractal. P. Save that one sec. Don't want to have all my conversations doxed. I don't know why Twitter always wants to pull up your messages. It's like, I don't click it, it just has to freaking pull them up all the time. All right, let's publicly air our shame. R.I.P. BTC. Fractal. You were too good for this world. All right, before I send this, who wants to take a swing at better? Who thinks they can make this tweet better? How should I word it? F in chat. F in chat. F in chat, boys. Who can word this better? How can I make this better? Tell me. I'm going to give you like a minute to think about it. Speaking of getting wrecked in the last hour, you lied to me, Fractal. That's not bad, Squeaky Clean. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I also don't want to imply that. I don't want to give Fractals that voice. Because they never make promises. They never make promises. Let's look at funding. Why? Stop going long. Jesus, titties. That's not good. Look at all these longs. Predicted funding long. No, we're dumping. We've gone down. That's when that's when the market's supposed to get real zealous on shorts. God dang it, Bobby. That's not good. Let's look at Max Payne. While you guys think of a better name for my tweet, or for better wording for the tweet, I will credit you in some way, maybe in the Discord with something special. If someone comes up with a better one. Fractal strikes again. Brian Edney. Tom, ready for 13.8. Go back to 2020, man. Go back to 2020 in December when I was yelling about 13.8. It had broken up and I said, we gotta go back to 13.8. Never happened. I'm ready for it. That's where I'd fill my first buy order since March of 2020 if we had 13.8. I am not of that opinion. I'm not of the opinion that any of this means that. If we get below the 200 weekly, like I think those talks come back on the table. But at this point, I think if you are crazy bearish, just from this right now, like overall, now you're no longer like if you thought we were in a bull run a week ago, and now you think we're in a bear market because of this sell-off, you got a lot to learn in crypto, bros. Like, I don't blame anyone who's feeling a little scared, a little panicked, a little rushed, whatever. That's normal. You should. Well, you should try to fight it, but you should. This is a pretty intense move. But if this is what it takes, I'll one on myself. If this is what it takes for someone's brain to go from we're in a bull run to we're in a bear market, bottom's in. Like, if there's like any real amount of people, and you don't have to admit it. You don't have to say in chat. You don't have to own up to it. I own up to it because it gets me more engagement when I own up to my losses on Twitter. Then this is probably the bottom. Because this, not at all. Like, this sucks. That fractal would have been awesome. But this, if you were bullish I don't even know. If you were bullish here in February, and now you think it's a bear market. No, not Bollinger Bands. If you thought it was a bear market the whole time, this doesn't apply to you. This doesn't apply to you. But if you were in the mindset that it was a bull market last week or a week before, or really at any point this year, really, that's what it is. If you thought we were in a bull market, or even, bull market, any point this year, and this move has changed your mind, then I think the bottom's in. Let's see. Indicator's last name. No. Last value. 25.7. That's not exactly right, is it? 25.764. If we move to here and we go below it, especially if we close the day, close the week below it, then I will start looking again at low targets, at downside, yearly low retests. Maybe even a lower low. I'll entertain it. But if right here, above the 200 week, if that was enough to change your mind, then I think the market has done its job and it has flushed the paper out. Like, it can return to the 200 perfectly. And then just go up again. I mean, that would almost seem too easy. But it does seem like fear has really gotten stoked on this. Like, this here isn't even anywhere as bad as this. This was way worse. But to be honest, if you were bullish here and now you're bearish, you were probably bullish here and then you're bearish here too. So, I mean, that's okay. Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone's wrong. Everyone starts off being wrong 100% of the time. That's that's really like the crypto journey. Is you start off, you're wrong 100% of the time. You literally could just be counter traded and you probably would be an amazing trader. You're just doing the opposite of whatever it is you think you should do. And the journey is slowly over time, you become wrong less often, but you come down from 100%. It's totally true. Like, I'm talking about myself and thousands of people I've watched. That's perfect. LMAO, thank you, John. Frankenband. I'm trying to get Frack told you all. This is good. It's still too complex for me. Tom, the bottom was never in bear market rally. Cryptodamus, like I said, if you've been bearish the whole year, then by all means be bearish here. But if you were bearish a week ago, or bullish a week ago and bearish here, you're probably bullish right here in February and then probably bearish here in March. And that's probably what's happening again. I don't know. I can't speak for anyone. If you were bearish the whole time, then bravo. I guess bravo if you were bearish since the beginning of the year. You're only 66% in the wrong direction now if you've been bearish all year. Like, I don't know. It's not really a flex. It's okay, though. Fractals being a fractal. I like that. That's almost too funny for me, though. Tom Crown, has the dump frazzled your hair? I don't know. I woke up like this, son. There's no product in my hair. I didn't brush it. I didn't even shower. I didn't do nothing. Where'd the fractal you go? You know, let's do like too good for this world. Let me throw in an emoji. I wish there was like a peace kiss emoji. I'll do a salute. We'll do a salute. After I get this tweet off, okay. What in the actual F? What is happening? Am I that much of a boomer now? Like, why are these emojis not working? Where do they go when I click them, these emojis? I kind of like the melting face. If it doesn't do it, then it's just not getting one. All right, F you, Twitter. You don't even get emoji. Fine. You don't even get an emoji. You suck. I love this tweet. I think, honestly, guys, true or false? Is this the best tweet I've ever done? True. The answer is true. Scared by AI? People were afraid of Furby, too. I've been hiding in a box. I've been hiding in a box waiting for you. Okay. Yeah, now Furbies are hella creepy. Let's see if that tweeted. Yeah. Show some respect. F's in the chat, but show some respect to the Fractal and its death. It had a great run. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I said I would stay on until the Fractal broke, and it did. We filled a little long right there. Not bad. Probably gonna get wrecked. Short's still up. Jarky dropped us some gifts. God, it's probably not over, is it? I have been live 4 hours. This is good. This is already one of my longest streams ever. I don't think it's the longest ever, but it's getting there. My butt hurts from sitting. With 1,000 votes, we're all looking for that 200 weekly moving average. And by golly, I did say it. We broke the fractal. That's the next area I'm looking for. At the beginning of the stream, I wasn't convinced that would break. We're right. Y'all was right. Well, y'all, I don't know. We'll have to see that hit first for you to be right. And for me to be right. If you guys haven't checked out crownanalysis.com yet, I hate you. You're not invited to my birthday party. Check out crownanalysis.com. It's this year we launched it. It's a collection. It's a myriad of authors, publishers, different perspectives, very different content than what we do. All market finance related, but this is our new baby. This is my new baby. And along with all the writers here who I love and are amazing. But some of it's crypto, some of it's other markets, some of it's technical, some of it's not, some of it's fun, some of it's bland. Check it out. Bookmark it, baby. We're going to get big this year. Crownanalysis.com. We were blacklisted from Google, but we won. And now we're no longer blacklisted as of Monday this week, so now we're going haired. Going haired. Fractal. I did like the Fractal comment. Fractal. Grim, you're rare in the space. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you too. I appreciate every single one of you. Seriously. I don't know. I for some reason, I like in my brain, I think people like don't believe me, but I know they do because I'm being genuine. I don't know. I don't know how to be anything other than whatever the hell this is, guys. This is just me. That's all I know how to do. Just be Tom. That's the only thing I can guarantee. I can't ever guarantee any of the analysis, any of trades, any profits, any losses, but I can always guarantee you that you will get just Tom, because that's all I know. It's like maybe it's like I'm autistic or something. Like I don't know how to behave in a different way. Ethereum. Poor Ethereum. You're at your 618, great spot to bounce, but I don't know. I don't see it really. Litecoin, I think, is my baby is so wrecked. It's so wrecked. Oh, this is not what I wanted. Oh well. It's not the end of the world. Look at dominance. Bitcoin's falling and dominance is going up, but just so slightly that's insignificant. Dominance is sideways. Unusual. I would have expected dominance to be moving up during a sell-off here, during these range lows, weekly lows tapped, broken. God, guys, I'm getting a little stream fatigued here. Let's see. Price went up, dominance went up. Price went down. Not super correlated right now. The real correlation now. No, not percent. Son of a bitch. Oh, this is a nightmare. Here we go. The real correlation here looks like on the pullback to 19.5, the move up, that's when dominance hit a low, moved up with price. Okay, never mind. So selling off, I don't know. My brain hurts now. My brain hurts now. It's kind of like an emo song. I like it. Reminds me of being a teenager. Oh, did I not even share? Did I share that tweet? Guys, I know streaming looks like not really a job and like you're not really doing anything. But man, you would be wrong. I am getting very fatigued. I think it's actually just from sitting for so many hours. There's that Fractal chat or Fractal post. 200 weekly moving average. Fractal's dead. Pour one out. Pour one out for the Fractal. Roll one up for the Fractal. It's 421. And honestly, I mean, I'm pretty sure until it's like April 30th, it's still 420 in my mind. So I'm going to go have like a little repeat of yesterday. I'm going to slow the brakes. I'm not going to be quite as crazy as my 420 celebration yesterday. If you could, put one of our 420 thumbs up in the chat. 419, because YouTube apparently naming an emoji 420 is against their community guidelines. And they would not let me. But 419 is fine. Put a little 419 thumbs up in the chat, boys and girls. Thank you for being here on the stream. Make sure you've subscribed. Jump in the Discord. We will be live. I mean, if we drop to the 200 weekly tonight, I'll go live again. I gotta eat. I gotta get up. Join the Discord. I'll make sure to do the airdrop. Sign up for Femex. They've sponsored us again. They're back, baby. Sign up for Fairdesk, Femex, Marketcipher, just everything in the video description below. Use the links. It supports the stream. I don't need you guys to send me any money, although I won't stop you. I'm not begging. I'm not selling anything. But if you're using these things, use my link. It helps support me. It costs you nothing, and a lot of times saves you money. This has been a hell of a stream. I love you all. Happy